How's going, guys? Welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the godlike monster in Hellsing? Huge shout out to ICHeart for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. I don't wish to hear your excuses, stated a man hidden by shadows in a dark room void of all but a desk and another man wearing a black cloak and a white mask covering his face. The man in the mask didn't say anything for a second, but responded nonetheless. My lord, he has been subjected to some of our best techniques, but his mind refuses to break. All seals that are placed on him burn up in seconds, so we cannot even erase his mind. The man hidden in the shadows said nothing, before he leaned forward and asked his question. What about the Yamanaka that was due to examine him again? The man in the mask didn't respond for a moment, and that was all that was needed to confirm the other's suspicions. The man in the shadows leaned forward to reveal his bandaged and scarred face. It seems it is time we tested the C93 again, stated the now revealed Danzo Shimura. The man in the mask, now revealed to be a member of Root, gasped audibly at this new turn of events and tried to talk his master out this course of action. Sir, is it wise to pursue this course of action? The C93 has either completely destroyed the bodies of the subject or driven them completely mad, argued the Root ninja. Are you questioning me? Asked Danzo as walked over to a cabinet and pulled out a red folder and started to read its contents. What successes have we received from the C93? Asked Danzo. Increased strength, speed, sight, and regeneration. However, all subjects have gone mad almost instantly after displaying these abilities, answered the Root ninja. How much of an improvement are we talking about? Asked Danzo as continued to read. Children display the strength and speed of Chunin level ninja. Their eyesight allows them to see completely in the dark and they can heal near instantly, responded the ninja. All tests have proven negative, but this time it is different. We are not dealing with a child who is broken nor a normal ninja with normal chakra. If the test is a failure, then we will proceed on to plan B immediately. Go retrieve the C93 and meet me at its room, ordered Danzo as he shut the folder shut and proceeded out the door. It is time that brat learns that no one is going to find him here. Damn that Sarutobi! If he had just given him to me when earlier, I would already have my weapon. Now I have to jeopardize everything just to have him obey me, thought Danzo as he walked through the darkened hallways. He came upon a large steel door with seals written on it. The seals were made to suppress chakra from escaping the room so none on the outside would be able to sense who or what was inside. Opening the door, he stepped inside to see three men. Two were looking through a glass mirror and another was writing things on a notepad as he glanced at the door. As soon as Danzo entered, all three men turned to face him. Lord Danzo, I wasn't aware that you would be joining us tonight for the session, stated the man with the notepad. There has been a change in plans for tonight. Our experiments have been deemed a failure, so we are going to resort to the C93, stated Danzo, earning a gasp from all three men. But sir, all tests have been a failure. If you use that now, he will surely die, and we are so close to succeeding, argued one of men, but he was silenced with a glare from Danzo. This boy was stronger than I believed. No, if he hasn't broken after 6 months of our most powerful techniques, then he will not break. I haven't even met a shinobi who was able to do this well, stated Danzo as he walked up to the mirror to look inside a dark room. Inside, one could see the body of a boy no older than 6 chained to the wall. The boy's head was bowed down low, and his blonde hair was covered with dry blood. His body was too covered with dried blood that had accumulated over the past 6 months. His tenant would not allow him to die no matter how much damage they did to his young body. Every time they cut him, he would heal. Every time they beat him, he would heal. Every time they burned him, he would heal. In the beginning, Danzo was sure that the boy would break with a little time. The boy would scream like anyone else, but yet he hung on and fought for all it was worth. After the first month, though, he stopped responding altogether to the techniques Danzo and his Root did to him. The first month he would beg for them to stop and weep, but now all they would get was a stare of utter loathing in return. No longer did the boy even flinch when they would burn the skin off his very bones, or when they slowly cut him open over and over again. He would just take everything they did and glare right back. At least until the 5th month of his captivity had begun. It was a surprise one day to walk into his cell and be greeted by the smiling face of a blonde that had been tortured for 5 months straight. It wasn't a happy smile that the blonde had on his face. It was one of insanity. No longer was that spark of hope and defiance in the eyes of the blonde. Now it was replaced with madness, a cunning madness that had already led to the death of one of his ninja when they were alone with the blonde. No one knew how it had happened, only that blonde had escaped from the chains and slaughtered the ninja torturing him. The body had been ripped to shreds and the blonde was covered in his blood. However, it was not the blood that disturbed Danzo. No, it was the fact that blonde was eating the remains of his ninja, smiling the whole time. When his ninja and he had entered the room, the blonde looked up and said the first words he had said in 4 months. "Best meal I've had in months, at Lord Danzo! Ha ha!" The statement alone sent even a shiver down his spine as it was said with a childlike voice, but held such malice that seemed like it never belonged in such a boy. Then the laugh. It was high-pitched and filled with such madness that it made nearly all his ninja nearly freeze in terror. Surprisingly, the boy just turned back to his chains and slipped them back on, not even resisting when his ninja added more to his body to ensure that he wouldn't escape again. From that day forth, the blonde would actively talk to his torturers, doctors, and to Danzo. He always spoke in a polite voice even when being cut, burned, or stabbed. Sometimes he would even give his own ninja tips on how to hurt him. If he wasn't talking, then he was either chuckling, outright laughing, or even sleeping during his torture sessions. Never once had Danzo ever dealt with someone who could take such a punishment and never die. Now, though, he was going to put 6 months of work on the line in order to have his perfect weapon. He was going to inject an artificial blood created using the blood of a being that lived long ago. The artificial blood was engineered to allow whoever was injected with the blood to be completely loyal to Danzo. If this test failed, then he would resort to Plan B and seal the QB into another child. Sure, this boy, Naruto Uzumaki, impressed him with his defiance. It didn't mean that Danzo wanted a weapon that could turn on him at any moment. "Lord Danzo, we have the C93 here for you," said 2 ninja as they entered the room. "Good, let's proceed," said Danzo as he opened the door to the cell and entered with the 2 ninja on his flank and one of the doctors behind him. As soon as they entered, the boy, now revealed to be Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the QB, lifted his head up and smiled at the 4 people before him. "Lord Danzo, what do I owe the honor of having you come to my humble home?" asked the blonde with a smile. Danzo ignored the boy as he gave the doctor the syringe of C93. "Make sure you inject it directly into the heart," ordered Danzo. "What about you two? Are you going to answer me, or is the mummy fish going to ignore me like usual?" asked Naruto again as he chuckled before being backhanded in the face by one of Danzo's ninja. "Ha ha ha, keep it up. I think you may have even cracked a tooth that time," laughed Naruto before being hit in the gut by the other ninja. "Quiet, demon! Show respect to Lord Danzo," shouted the other ninja before Naruto looked up and smiled before laughing at him. "Restrain him now," ordered Danzo as 2 ninja grabbed Naruto by his sides. "Oh please, ninja, don't hurt me. I'm just a little boy." "Ahaha!" laughed Naruto as the ninja secured him, making him unable to move. "This will only take a moment, boy," said the doctor as he approached Naruto. "I hope you know I will enjoy feasting on all of you when I escape," said Naruto as a grin covered his face. "I wouldn't be too sure about that, boy," said Danzo as he nodded at the doctor. The doctor quickly plunged the syringe into the heart of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto just looked at the doctor with the grin still on his face. "Was that supposed to hurt little ol' me?" asked Naruto. "Sir, most patients usually scream by now," said one of the doctors nervously. This doctor had been present every day for the past 6 months that Naruto had been in the cell. He was also in charge of understanding Naruto's mind, and what he found disturbed him greatly. Naruto's mind had shattered just a month ago, but it was an unusual case where the boy was able to focus his insanity at specific focal points. His morals and beliefs were still deep down in the boy, subconsciously of course. On the exterior, though, was a being of malice and madness that presented itself exactly when it was needed. This was perhaps the only reason the boy was yet to be under their control. If he had to give anything to the boy, it was that his will was far stronger than any other man he had ever met in his life. They had tried to get him to kill innocents, but the boy would just sit there smiling at whomever was brought in. However, when they brought in a murderer or rapist, the boy wouldn't hold back in the slightest. He would toy with the victim before going in for the kill, sometimes even eating them alive. It was gruesome to say the least, and the doctor never understood where the blonde's new love for cannibalism came from, but that wasn't why he was assigned to study the boy, so he didn't dive too deep. Danzo turned to look at the doctor before looking at the smiling face of Naruto. "Give it a second," stated the man as Naruto's smile widened with madness. "I'm going to enjoy eating that illusion eye of yours," stated Naruto, as Danzo's visible eye narrowed. You see, it was only 3 months ago that the Uchiha massacre occurred, and Danzo had been able to receive Shursui Uchiha's one eye. He had even tried his most powerful technique on the brat, only for him to laugh in his face, call him mummy-faced fish. For the next few months he would spend time in the room practicing his abilities on the blonde, only for the blonde to eventually become immune to every genjutsu he could cast. Of course, he did do some lasting damage on the boy, as he now hated anyone with the Sharingan eye. It was for that reason that Naruto would often talk about eating it just to spite him. As he was watching Naruto, he noticed a change in Naruto's eyes and smiled a bit. "What are you smiling at? Hhhhhhh!" screamed out Naruto as his body started thrashing wildly as the C93 worked its way into his system. "I guess it does hurt. He hasn't once even responded to anything we've done up to this point," stated one of the root ninja. "I'll kill you all. I will feast on your remains, cut off your heads, and mount them for the world to see," screamed Naruto as blood began to pour from his eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. Naruto screamed for over 30 minutes before he finally stopped and collapsed in exhaustion. "Chain him to the wall as tightly as possible and stick as many seals on his body as you can. Bikubi will be too busy to work with any seal placed on him. Keep guard then and summon me when he has woke," ordered Danzo as he left the room. "Well, hello Kurama. It is nice to see you again on this fine May evening," stated Naruto with a smile as he walked up to the cage holding Kyubi. "What is happening to your body? Whatever they put into your body is even overriding my chakra and will not be long before it has completely infected you," stated Kurama as he gazed down at the menacing smile of Naruto. "It seems they have found a way to kill me after all. That sucks. I didn't even get to eat that tasty-looking eye of his," pouted Naruto as crossed his arms. "Kid, sometimes you even scare me," stated the Kyubi as a smile formed on Naruto's face once again. "Really? I scare even the greatest of all beings. Oh, now I really wish I didn't die down here. It would have been so fun to kill all of those out there that deserve death," chuckled Naruto. "That sounds like quite an interesting plan," came a voice that resonated off the entire room. The voice was quiet, but it carried with it an underlying tone of power that even the Kyubi could not reach. "Who is there? Get out of my body!" screamed the Kyubi as Naruto just smiled. "Your body? It seems that this is actually just the body of the little boy there," stated the voice once more, but with a mocking tone. "Well, hello, Mr. Second Voice in me head. Are you going to help me have fun like Mr. Kyubi promised me he would? Oh, maybe you are what Mr. Mummy put into me!" exclaimed Naruto in understanding as his grin grew even more maddening. "I guess you could say that. You do seem to be to my liking. Also, your body seems to be able to handle foreign souls quite well, my guess due to the large fox before me. The others died or were driven mad, well, madder than you currently are at least," stated the voice as Naruto looked around. "So what is your name then? I would at least like to know the name of my next tenant before you can move in," stated Naruto with a smile. "I am known by many names throughout history, child. I was the No-Life King, the Gnome King, Nozofuretu, but my last name was simply Alucard," stated the voice as a mass of black shadows appeared before Naruto and formed into the shape of a large man. The man was wearing a red hat and jacket that seemed to be extremely strange to both Naruto and Kyubi. He had red-tinted glasses covering his eyes and long black hair. His jacket had white laces on it at specific points. The thing that stood out the most on the man though was the smile he was giving Naruto. For it was the exact same smile that Naruto was sending back at him, but Naruto lacked the size and fangs that made Alucard's grin seem even more ferocious. "You lie! The Life King disappeared thousands of years ago," yelled the Kurama in shock as Naruto's grin seemed to get a bit larger at this information. "It seems my big brother knows of you, Mr. Alucard. Tell me, are you here to kill me or to fight? Either one sound good to me," exclaimed Naruto as Alucard just walked over to Naruto. "Now why would I want to kill the last of my descendants?" asked Alucard, causing Naruto's eyes to widen and his grin to falter. Kurama, on the other hand, had its mouth on the ground at that piece of information. "If that is true, then why does he not share any of your fabled powers?" asked Kurama as Alucard turned his gaze to the beast before him. "It isn't a gene that can be passed down through generations. He has my blood, but still has his soul, for now. The only reason I'm here now is because of the one man injecting particles of my essence into your bloodstream. Now he will have every single one of my powers," said Alucard as killing intent radiated off his body. "So Mr. Mummy injected you into me, which will allow me to be granted deadly powers? I'm going to have to thank him when I wake up," smiled Naruto as his eyes turned bright crimson, but lacked the slit to show that it was Kurama's doing. "I have the feeling that I am going to enjoy living in your body at the time being," stated Alucard with a grand smile as Naruto smiled back. "So what exactly am I now?" asked Naruto curiously. "You will be a monster in all ways. Vampires are what we are known as. We live off the blood of our enemies and feast upon their souls," exclaimed Alucard as Naruto's smile turned malicious once more. "Guess that explains why that man tasted so delicious," stated Naruto as he saw his world shimmer briefly. "Guess I get to test out my new powers already," stated Naruto as Alucard smiled at the boy. "They will have no chance. Feast upon them," ordered Alucard as Naruto disappeared. "Now you, Kurama, we are going to talk about my descendants' future," stated Alucard as he turned his cold gaze to Kyubi, who shivered at the sight. "It seems the brat is waking up. Ninja, I need you to make sure he is secure while I check him over," stated one of the doctors as they walked over to the boy. "Stay still, demon, or I will kill you," stated the ninja as he grabbed Naruto by the neck and lifted him off the floor. "I'm not a demon," whispered Naruto just loudly enough for the ninja to hear. "Then what are you?" asked the ninja in a mocking tone before Naruto grabbed the ninja's elbow and squeezed. Now normally this wouldn't have done anything to this ninja, but take into account Naruto inheriting the powers of Alucard, it leaves one seriously strong motherfucker. So it isn't a big surprise for us to see the ninja's elbow promptly shatter, causing the ninja to scream in pain. Naruto forced the man to his knees and grabbed his neck with his other now slightly clawed hand and looked into the ninja's eyes. "I'm not a demon! I am a monster!" yelled Naruto as his eyes turned blood red and ripped the throat out of the ninja's neck. Naruto turned his gaze to the two doctors in the room and smiled at seeing their panicked looks. It was pure bliss to see these men cower away from him in fear. It made him feel even better to know that these two men deserved punishment for the crimes they had committed in the past. One of the doctors promptly ran to the door to open, but Naruto blurred from sight and appeared again, blocking the door. "Where are you going? The fun has only just begun," yelled Naruto as he released every bit of killing intent he had in his soul. Danzo was in his office signing a few documents when suddenly he felt a massive killing intent that seemed to have at least matched the Kyubi's. Danzo acted quickly and went to a comms switch and flipped it on. "All route, get to the labs. The Kyubi has been released. I want it back under my control this instant," yelled Danzo. Unfortunately for him, he didn't realize that it wasn't the Kyubi, but something much, much worse. It had been 6 months since the Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, had been dealt one of the biggest blows of his life. His grandson in all but blood, Naruto Uzumaki, had disappeared one night after being admitted to the hospital for yet another beating by the civilians of Konoha. Frankly, he hoped that Naruto had been able to escape the city and live the rest of his life in peace. But he knew that wasn't true. The power of a Jinchuriki was something that most villages sought after greatly. It wouldn't be too hard to guess that someone had abducted Naruto for their own purposes. Sarutobi sighed as he gazed at his village. They would never know what or who they had lost, and he was never going to tell them. Naruto wasn't the demon, he was the son of their late Hokage, but now it didn't even matter. That boy could have one day been the Hokage, stated Sarutobi sadly. It was then that he had felt it. A great oppressive chakra on the likes the village hadn't experienced in 6 years. The scary thing was that it felt like it was just outside the city limits past the wall. And you get all Jounin level ninja in full battle gear. We have to hurry now, commanded the aged Hokage, but his commands were not needed as the whole village was already in a panic and nearly all the shinobi were heading towards the tower. Hiruzen shed his cloak and adopted his armor as he left the tower to be greeted by 30 Jounin of the Leaf. The Chunin had already left to defend the walls, and this was all that remained to scout out the trouble. We must hurry to where the chakra was released. If the Kyuubi has escaped, then we already have seen it by now. There is still hope to avert a catastrophe, yelled the Hokage as he set off into the direction of the chakra. So what will we do if the Kyuubi hasn't been released? Asked a dog-faced Anbu as he ran beside the Hokage. If it hasn't, then there is still hope to save Naruto, said Hiruzen as they approached the place where the chakra was most evident. Mole! Use a sensing jutsu and see how large the caves are beneath us, yelled the Hokage as a mole-faced Anbu did a few seals and slammed his hand on the ground. Lord Hokage! The tunnel system is massive and seems to be miles long. There is an entrance 100 yards to the north, sir, yelled the Anbu as the Hokage nodded and they all proceeded to the entrance. Open it for us, Mole, ordered the Hokage as Mole did a jutsu to open a large hole into the tunnel. As soon as the tunnel opened, they were hit with blast of killing intent that nearly brought every Anbu to their knees. They couldn't see deep inside since it was pitch black and no noise escaped the tunnel. How should we proceed, Lord Hokage? Asked one of the Anbu. Dog, take a team into the tunnels and scout them out. If you run into Naruto, you are to not engage unless attacked first, commanded the Hokage as Dog nodded and took 3 other ninja with him. They were Cat, Tenzo, and Mole. After several minutes of navigating through the tunnels, with Mole's directions, they came upon the first of many large rooms. Inside they were met with a gruesome sight. 8 or more ninja, rude by the looks of it, were in the room completely torn apart, and their heads ripped off. The thing that confused the experienced Anbu was that there was absolutely no blood in the room. However, there should be puddles of blood in the room if the manner in which these people died counts for anything. 2 of the heads were impaled on 2 long spears and were just hanging there. Everyone stay on guard. It is likely that whatever did this to these men is still in these tunnels, ordered Dog as the others nodded and took out kunai. What could have done something like this? Asked Cat. Kyuubi maybe? But that wouldn't explain what happened to all the blood, suggested Mole as they proceeded deeper into the base. The deeper they got, the more bodies they discovered, all killed in gruesome ways. One seemed to have been eaten, judging by the marks on his bones. HHHH! Came a scream from down a narrow hallway that put all the Anbu on edge instantly. The 4th made it to the room from which they heard the scream. As they got closer, they could hear the sound of someone struggling as if they were being choked. Then when they opened the door, a sick squelching sound met their ears. Inside they found the short silhouette of a boy hunched over a large body. The boy seemed too oblivious to the shinobi that entered the room and continued with what he had been doing before they entered. The Anbu saw to their disgust that the boy was eating away at the neck of the man and seemed to be sucking the blood up into his mouth. The boy reached up and plucked a single eyeball out of the man's head and started to laugh to their surprise. I told you I would eat this evil eye of yours, mummy, yelled the child in laughter as he tossed the eye into his mouth and promptly bit down on it. What the fuck? Exclaimed Mole as the little boy stopped feasting on the remains of the man and stood to face the 4 shinobi. When he turned around, none of the 4 Anbu could make out any of the boy's features as the room was too dark. It was only when the boy decided to talk that they figured out exactly who he was. Dog San! You came to rescue me from my friends, yelled the boy as he disappeared from sight only to reappear on chest of Dog and send them both flying through the door. Immediately Mole and Cat ran to Dog's side and were surprised to find the boy was none other than Naruto Uzumaki. However, their joy subsided when they saw the eyes of Naruto. They seemed to be extremely weird as they constantly switched from being eyes of innocence, madness, anger, and malice. It seemed to be all three mixed into one. They were the eyes of a shinobi that had lost it after a mission and could no longer go on. Most of the time this led to that shinobi either killing themselves or killing others due to them not understanding reality. They did a lot of bad things to me, dog. They beat me, stabbed me, poisoned me, burned me, experimented on me, and tried to kill me, yelled Naruto as he started laughing at what he had to go through. They tried to force me to kill children, but I refused. However, I killed the bad ones. Yep. They deserved to die for what they did. Their souls were dark, so dark. Just like all of the people who were in the base. So I killed them and took their souls so they would suffer for an eternity, exclaimed Naruto with happiness and joy at taking so many lives. Naruto, you did all this? Asked Dog in shock. Yeah, it was fun too. The more they screamed, the better it was, exclaimed Naruto as a horrible smile covered his face. Why did you kill them though? Asked Dog, still in a state of shock. 'Cause I'm a monster, said Naruto simply as his persona did a complete 180. Gone was the excitement, only to be replaced with a calm expression of morbid fascination. I killed them 'cause I enjoyed it, nothing more, nothing less, stated Naruto as a smile covered his face. I can show you how if you would like, asked Naruto as his eyes turned blood red, but then they went back to his sky blue eyes. No, your souls aren't dark, only those that deserve to die will die, mumbled Naruto, but Dog and the other ANB still heard him. Dog! This is Lord Danzo, came the voice of Mole from inside the room they were just at. What? Yelled Dog as he and the other ANBU ran into the room with a grinning Naruto following them. Indeed, the body that Naruto had just been feasting on was none other than Danzo Shimura, one of the Hokage's advisors and his one teammate and friend. The body was missing one eye, but the one left conveyed such utter fear that it made the ANBU shiver. He begged like a dog as I slaughtered his men. However, I couldn't let him live, his soul was the darkest of them all. My life was not the first he has tried to ruin, thousands have died due to his actions, stated Naruto with a grin on his face as we walked up to the ANBU. Dog, what are we supposed to do? He killed Lord Danzo in cold blood, asked Cat as Dog seemed to be debating things. It seems that Danzo has been hiding quite a few things from the rest of his village. If this is indeed his root base, then he was guilty of treason and Naruto was nothing more than his executioner, so we do nothing, stated Dog as the other three looked unsure. Naruto, if we take you back to the village, will you attack any of the civilians? Asked Dog. Only if they attack me first, that is my promise to you, Dog, said Naruto with his grin still on. Will you keep your word? Asked Dog. Dog, you cannot be serious? If he is as unstable as I believe, then he could be nothing more than a ticking time bomb, exclaimed Mole. I never go back on my promises, that is the way I live, stated Naruto with a grin. We will take him back, that is the end of this discussion. Let's go. Remember, Naruto, you cannot attack the civilians if they do nothing, no matter how dark their souls are, stated Dog as Naruto nodded as his grin left his face. Fine, you are no fun, Dog, stated Naruto as he turned to the door and walked out the room with the ANBU following him from behind. How many men were there in the base? Asked Dog. 43 personnel and doctors, 35 ninja. Every single one of them had a black soul. There are prisoners here too, they are on the level below us, stated Naruto. So he is only killing those that deserve to die. He may be bipolar, but at least he still has a sense of right and wrong, thought Dog as he and Cat took the lead and led them out of the cave. How did you kill them though? Asked Dog. I'm a monster, remember, stated Naruto as a wave of killing intent hit them, causing them to stumble a bit. The amount of killing intent he can wield at his age is unreal, thought all four ANBU at once. Dog moved ahead of the three other ANBU and Naruto and made his way to the Hokage quickly. Outside he was ambushed by 3 ninja at once aiming swords at his neck. Dog! What did you find down there? Did the Kyuubi escape and is it Naruto? Asked the Hokage quickly. Hokage-sama! The Kyuubi was not the source of the killing intent that we felt. There are no traces of demonic chakra at all. What we felt was nothing more than killing intent from one person, Naruto Uzumaki. Responded Dog as Hiruzen's mouth opened like a fish. What do you mean that came from Naruto? He is only 6 years old, yelled Hiruzen in shock as a few of the ninja nodded their heads. Sir, I believe that this was a root base and Naruto was experimented on. Whatever they did, it seems that Naruto is very strong now and slightly unstable. He killed all but the prisoners and even killed Danzo Shimura, stated Dog as Hiruzen's facial expressions kept changing. First it was anger at discovering this was a root base that should have been disbanded. Second, it was sadness at finding out that Naruto had been experimented on, and God knows what else. Last, it was shock and acceptance at what had happened to his old rival. Very well, it seems that my old rival bit off a bit more than he could handle. What did you mean by Naruto being unstable? Asked Hiruzen. He seems to be bipolar and enjoys killing. However, he seems to only kill those that deserve it apparently. He says that he only kills those that have a blackened souls, stated Kakashi. Very well, I will see this for myself, stated Hiruzen. Indeed, Gigi, yelled Naruto as he appeared at the mouth of the tunnel. Now that he was in the light, one could see the damage that had been done to him. He was extremely pale and was wearing nothing more than rags that did little to cover his body up. Scars littered his body and seemed to stick out even more against his pale skin. However, the worst was the one that went from his left eye down to the left side of his chin. It was a wonder that the boy wasn't blind from such an injury. Naruto, what did they do to you? Asked a shocked Hiruzen. Easy, Gigi, they turned me into a monster, yelled Naruto as his eyes turned red and he unleashed his killing intent upon the group of ninja before him. Naruto, I need to know what happened down in those tunnels. Please tell me so that I can help you, stated the Sandaime as he looked at the grinning face of Naruto with sympathy. Naruto's grin just got larger, revealing a row of extremely fierce and deadly-looking teeth that made the Sandaime shiver with fear. Naruto pulled both of his hands out of his pocket and put them in front of his face as he made a square with both hands. He just stared at the Hokage through the square that his hands created. What are you doing, Naruto? Asked the Hokage as he started to reach for a kunai that was under his desk. I'm taking a picture to remember forever. You're scared of me, Gigi. You reek of fear and regret, Gigi. Why is it that you fear me when I am your own grandson in all but blood? Although the regret is a bit confusing, is there anything you wish to tell me, Gigi? Asked Naruto as the Hokage began to sweat a little at how the boy could easily sense every one of his emotions. I wasn't aware that we're here to interrogate me, Naruto. Just please tell me what exactly happened down in that cave, asked the Hokage, trying to regain control of the conversation as Naruto smirked at the Hokage. I was enlightened in those caves, Gigi. I found my true purpose, a purpose that will be fulfilled through the blood of those that are damned. All those that have committed such deep dark acts will be subjected to the horror at which only a monster could conjure, declared Naruto as his eyes turned blood red, before settling back on blue. Kami, what the hell did they do to him down there? Does he mean to take revenge on all of those that have attacked him, or will he kill only those that he believes to be evil? Why couldn't Danzo have just listened to me for once, thought the Hokage with a sigh. I have to know what you mean by that information, Naruto, said the Hokage as his voice trailed off as Naruto crossed his arms. Don't worry, Gigi. I won't harm anyone, unless attacked first. If so, I shall show them true horror when they face a being that is beyond them in any way. By the way, I should warn you, I can no longer eat normal foods. Now I must eat blood just to live, said Naruto as he licked one of his fangs. Blood? Stuttered out the Hokage in shock. Blood, affirmed Naruto with a sick smile. I need to feast on blood once a week to live. Besides, there are benefits to consuming the blood from a living victim, Naruto stated as the Hokage eyed him wearily. What type of benefits are we talking about here? Asked the Hokage as Naruto's grin widened. For every victim that I drain, I gain a soul that is stored in, let's say, a bank that is located in my mind. Now let's say that I receive an injury that I normally can't heal from. If there is an abundance of blood in the area, then I will heal. But if there is no blood, then I can sacrifice the souls of the victims that I have drained to heal myself. Then there is the added benefit of knowing everything that they knew before I sucked them dry," said Naruto as the Hokage looked shocked at that information. "But then you would can everything there is about Konoha, from the day-to-day operations of the Hokage down to darkest secrets that Danzo knew. Now, this also happens to put my knowledge of the affairs of being a ninja up pretty high. So I will be requesting missions in the future. Not now, maybe a week or two, but I expect to be allowed to try them, although not as a ninja. We wouldn't want the other villages knowing about Danzo's weapon. Now would we?" said Naruto as the Hokage began to think about what Naruto was asking. "I can grant you that on a few conditions, Naruto," said the Hokage as Naruto nodded in understanding. "Name them," responded Naruto. "The first is that you must refrain from attacking anyone in the village no matter what. Even if you are attacked first, for I don't want the whole village in an uproar at learning that you have became a monster, as you put it." Naruto snorted at that, but nodded. "Second, you will only do missions that I approve of, and no one is to find out that you are working for Konoha." Naruto nodded at that one. "The last is that you tell me everything that you know about Danzo and his exploits before you drained him. If that information turns out to be correct, then you will be interrogating prisoners and spies here in Konoha," finished the Hokage. "Deal," stated Naruto as he started to walk out of the room. "Where are you going?" asked the Hokage. "The night is young, Hokage. I plan to do a little hunting around the village. Surely there is news already spreading about the annihilation of an entire ANBU base here in Konoha. I plan on no letting a single spy get in or out," said Naruto as he phased through the wall. "What the hell has that boy become?" thought the Hokage. Naruto jumped from tree to tree, just enjoying the full moon that lit up the night. It had been 2 days since he had destroyed the Danzo's base and Danzo himself, but he had only just been released from the hospital. They had wanted to know what exactly Danzo had done to him, and now they knew. The main reason he was out patrolling the village was mostly for the sake of quenching his thirst that he had been feeling since the night before. Just because he could live a week without blood didn't mean he wanted to wait that long. It was a good thing too that luck was on his side that October night, as he spotted in the darkness 2 figures jumping towards the city. He could see, despite the lack of light, that they were from the village of Iwa, and that one was Chunin level ninja, the other was Jounin, and that one had a very black soul under his belt, something that made Naruto smile as he imagined ways to kill said ninja. "The patrols are too tight, sir. I don't believe that we can make it into the city," stated the nervous Chunin as he ducked his head to avoid eye contact with the beast of the man before him. The man was called Bane across Iwa due to him literally being the bane of all things in the village. The only reason he was still around was due to the man possessing a bloodline that allowed him to adopt the persona of anyone that he drank the blood of. It was a very ancient bloodline that only was found in 1 out of 100 in his clan, but it drove the holder crazy if they drank the blood of too many victims. Due to their insanity, the holder would do acts that were unthinkable in modern society, like rape, murder, and genocide in small groups. Bane was perhaps actually the least insane out of all other holders, but that is what made him worst in the eyes of Iwa. The man did all that his fellow holders did, but he did it solely for pleasure and took satisfaction in his work by displaying his victims for all to see across the village. Bane looked at the Chunin before smiling at him kindly. It wasn't rare for Bane to smile this way at people, and if one looked at him they wouldn't believe that someone could be so evil on the inside. This was achieved through his bloodline, and many believed that he had killed the man to get his hands on the blood. He had jet black hair spiked in different directions and a smooth, angular face with light blue eyes that looked as if they were on the verge of being blind. "No worries, I have already found my target. He has been following us for some time now, and I believe it is time we said hello," said Bane with a kind smile as he turned to face the direction that Naruto was standing. It was when he turned, his smile turned from one of kindness to one of malice that promised pain and suffering for anyone who crossed his path. "Come on out already, coward! I want to see your face as I crush the life from your eyes," shouted Bane. "Interesting, I didn't believe that someone such as yourself could track me, said Naruto as phased out of a tree to appear only 20 meters away from Bane. A child? This is impossible, laughed Bane as Naruto's smile just widened as the man left. I am no mere child, stated Naruto as a scream pierced the air and Bane turned to look at his partner only to see him missing an arm and being pinned to a tree by a clone. The clone dropped the flailing man and turned to Bane. I will deal with him after I am done with you, stated the clone with a smile as he dispersed in a cloud of black smoke. Interesting. I didn't think Konoha trained children to kill, stated Bane as he pulled out a jagged-edged sword that looked like a saw. Oh, they didn't train me to act this way, however their acts did cause a bit of an evolution, said Naruto as he grinned at the man as his eyes began to glow a bright red. You have committed sins of great evil to those that didn't deserve them and have dipped your heart in hole of darkness. That darkness is now your enemy as it will squeeze the very life out of you and enact vengeance for all those you have wronged. Bane's face quickly became full of rage as he charged at the boy with his sword ready to tear apart the brat that dared to threaten him. He had actually considered letting the kid live, with just a few scars, but now he would kill him, slowly for that insult. He moved quickly and grabbed the boy by the neck and slammed him into a tree, smirking the entire time. The pressure from the slam splintered the tree in a spider-web pattern, and he could hear several bones in the boy crack under the pressure. However, the boy didn't even utter a single sound despite the blood coming from his mouth. If anything, the boy grinned even more, prompting Bane to take the large serrated blade and stab the boy in the gut, causing organs to pile out in a heap on the tree branches below. But yet the boy didn't say a word, nor did his facial expression ever change. It was just that mocking grin on his face covered in a row of fang teeth white as snow on a cold winter night, and a pair of blood-red eyes that seemed to be bearing holes into Bane's very soul. What the fuck are you, kid? Asked Bane in shock as he pulled the blade out and started to hack away at Naruto's body until it was a pile of ravaged flesh and bones covering the whole tree as Bane was laughing with glee at yet another murder he had just committed. Maybe I should just deal with you now so your screams don't attract the village, stated Bane with a treacherous smile as he approached his downed teammate. Please, Bane. I beg of you, begged the man as he tried to pull himself away from his crazed teammate with his remaining arm. Oh no, can't have that happening now. You see, I have a reputation that needs to be maintained in IWA, and I don't see you living as an effective way to maintain it, stated Bane as he started laughing sadistically as the Chunin before him suddenly started screaming in pain. Make it stop. Please stop, screamed the man in one FO, the most horrifying screams that even Bane had ever heard of before. I'm no even doing anything and he is screaming like that. I must be more terrifying than I though. What the hell is that? Thought Bane as he watched the Chunin's blood begin to soak through his skin and form a puddle only a few feet away. This isn't right, stated Bane as the quickly shot up in a column of blood that took the form of the kid he had just ripped to shreds less than a minute ago to Bane's shock. I wish you knew how much that hurt, although I guess it doesn't matter as you will be feeling a pain much worse, stated Naruto as his mouth opened and blood began to drip from the fangs. What the hell? You should be dead, this isn't possible, shouted Bane as he involuntarily took a step back at the sheer horror of seeing a kid regenerate out of a pool of blood. I am a lot of things. Although I guess the best word to describe what I am would have to be a monster. Now let's finish this little man, stated Naruto with a smirk as giggled at his own taunt. Bane looked at the boy with a hard glare as his mind raced with possibilities of what could explain this thing in front of him. I'm going to eviscerate you, screamed Bane as he swung his blade at a downward arc at the boy. Pathetic, stated Naruto with boredom as he caught the blade between his hands and smiled at the terrified look that Bane was giving. That you are no different than all those that you have hurt. A stain on this land that needs to be wiped from existence before others ever have to suffer your cruelty. I will punish you for eternity along all the others who have committed such crimes, yelled out Naruto as he started to laugh as he broke the serrated blade that the man was holding. Katan, Grand Fire Flash! Yelled the man in terror as he shot a large blast of flames out his hands, simultaneously jumping back to avoid the swathe of destruction he had just created. There's no way he could survive something like that, He will be burned to ashes and dew, thought Bane before a chill ran up his spine and a deep chuckle permeated the air around him as his eyes widened in horror at what he was seeing. The inferno that he had created was raging only 20 meters away, and the heat alone caused the hairs on his body to be singed. But what he saw inside the inferno, laughing louder than the roar of the flames, was the boy. The flames were peeling the skin off his very bones, and yet the kid did nothing but laugh in the sickest way possible. Slowly the boy walked through the flames and approached Bane, who was too terrified by this sight to move. 1, 2, Naruto's coming for you, stated the boy in a childish voice as he broke away from the flames without showing a single emotion or hint of pain caused by inferno. 3, 4, blood and guts galore, sang Naruto in his childish voice as he approached Bane, who had managed to pull out a kunai and hold it shakily in defense. Stay away from me, screamed Bane as he chucked the kunai at Naruto. The kunai hit directly in the shoulder of the boy, but it did nothing more than him smile even more. 5, 6, did you enjoy my tricks? 7, 8, now you are the bait, screamed Naruto as he released every ounce of killing intent that he had in him, causing the man to completely freeze and empty his bowls in complete horror at the monster that was standing before him. Naruto's smile widened as he closed the distance to the paralyzed Bane and leaned down right next his ear. 9, 10, never wake again, whispered Naruto as his fangs extended and he sunk them deeply into the neck of the now screaming Bane. That was the scene that several ANBU came upon as they finally made it to the spot at which Naruto had just killed 2 IWA shinobi. The boy never once even acknowledged their presence as he continued to suck up every ounce of blood from his victim. Finally, a wolf-faced ANBU had the courage to walk up to the boy. Naruto Uzumaki, what are you doing? Asked Wolf as Naruto finally withdrew from the man's neck and stared at Wolf with his glowing red eyes. I was out for a nice midnight stroll when I happened to stumble upon these 2 ninja. I believe they are from IWA. Well, anyway, I was just dying of thirst, so I thought that they could help me. Is there a problem though, Wolf? Asked Naruto in a childish voice as the ANBU took a step back in shock. How the hell did this kid kill 2 IWA shinobi and not have a single scratch on him, thought Wolf, not knowing that Naruto had healed from the attacks Bane unleashed upon him. The second Bane's blood poured down his throat. Naruto, we are going to have to take you to see Ibiki. We have to know what happened exactly here tonight, stated Wolf as Naruto nodded. I have to see him tomorrow anyway, Wolf. So no, yelled Naruto as he jumped away from the NBU and the 2 bodies and attempted to flee into the forest. Get him, yelled Wolf as his team chased after Naruto. The chase would last through the night as Naruto displayed the side of him that would never change no matter what was done to him. He was a child at heart, and nothing would ever change that. So you're saying this guy will pay me to drink blood and tell him what they know? Asked Naruto as he walked behind the Hokage. That is correct, Naruto, stated the Hokage as Naruto's smile turned into a small frown. They walked for a few seconds, passing several people before Naruto decided to speak up. I will only do it if they defend themselves. I want to hunt them down. It is much more fun to kill a tiger than to kill a penned-up sheep, said Naruto as the Hokage looked at him sadly. Killing doesn't have to be fun, Naruto, whispered the Hokage as Naruto began to smile widely. But Gigi, that's one of the few things that actually is fun to me now, whined Naruto as the Hokage just looked at him sadly as they approached the last door. Remember, Naruto, you are to behave. Whatever, Gigi, sighed Naruto as he kicked open the door, causing the Hokage to get a sweat drop. Inside was a man chained to the wall with a larger man standing over top of him with a hard look on his face. He was wearing a blue bandana and a black trench coat that made Naruto think that he looked like a total badass. So this is the one that you want me to test, Lord Hokage? Asked the man in a deep voice as the prisoner looked at the boy in curiosity. Indeed, Ibiki, we have to find an outlet for his tendencies, stated the Hokage as Naruto chuckled a bit at the Hokage's wording of his condition. I understand. This will be your test then, Naruto. You are to extract all the information that you can from him. I will not give you any information that we have already learned, though, challenged Ibiki as he walked out of the room, followed by the Hokage. Naruto walked over to the only chair in the room and sat down and stared at the man chained to wall. A clang and thud signified that the door had been closed and locked from the outside, preventing anyone from leaving the room. So this is what they send to get the information from me. Ha! If this is all they got, then they'll never find out where that dumb bitch's body is, laughed the man on the wall as Naruto's smile just got wider. For the next 20 minutes that was all that was exchanged between the two occupants of the cell. The prisoner would yell at and taunt Naruto, but all the blonde did was smile and lick his teeth, not even acknowledging the man in the room. Lord Hokage, I thought he only had to drink the blood of the victim to learn what they knew. He hasn't done anything but smile at the guy since we started, stated Ibiki as they watched Naruto through a one-way mirror. He likes to play with his victims, I guess, responded the Hokage as Naruto finally pushed himself away from the chair and approached the man. What? Finally going to do something, you little brat? I won't spill to you no matter what, screamed the man as he fought against the chains, at least before Naruto grabbed him by the neck and started squeezing the throat. Who said anything about making you talk? Stated Naruto as he showed his fangs as his eyes glowed red. He immediately bit in the man's neck, causing him to send out a loud scream as Naruto sucked him dry. A minute later, Naruto finally receded from the man's neck and threw the body away from him as he stood up with a smile on his face. He turned to look at the mirror and immediately started to say everything there was to know about the man he had just killed. Ibiki and the Hokage all listened to him, and Ibiki gave a whistle in approval. It may be brutal, but it does get the job done. He will be invaluable to us if Cloud keeps assaulting our borders in the future, stated Ibiki as the Hokage nodded. Hopefully those border attacks cease soon, sighed out the Hokage before smiling a little. They have expressed interest in sending an ambassador over to discuss negotiations. Hopefully a war can be avoided, said the Hokage. Why should war be avoided? Asked Naruto, causing the two men to freak out and look at the mirror and see that Naruto's head had phased through the mirror and was now talking to him. Naruto, people die in war. That enough is a reason not to wage war, stated the Hokage as Naruto shrugged nonchalantly. You humans confuse me, responded Naruto as he began to walk away from them. He walked through the far wall before phasing through it and disappearing from sight. That kid even causes me to shiver in terror, stated Ibiki as the Hokage nodded. So let me get this straight, you went on a walk through the woods and came across a bandit camp to the north of Konoha? Asked the Hokage as he stared at the grinning face of Naruto. Yep, answered Naruto as the Hokage continued. Then you decided to walk up to the camp and demanded for them to give you all of their gold? Paused Sarutobi as he looked at the smiling face of Naruto. After they refused, you decided to, quote, make an example of them dickless pigs. And then you proceeded to kill 27, interrupted Naruto abruptly. 27 of the bandits in the camp and impale them on large stakes around the camp to be displayed to all who came upon the camp? It also mentions that many of them were ghouls and were still moving despite being impaled on the spikes. Does that about sum it up? Asked the Hokage. I would say that is an accurate account of my work for last night. I could go more detailed if you like. I still remember the way this really large guy squealed as I pulled out high. Started Naruto only to be interrupted by the Hokage. That is okay, Naruto. I've heard my fair share of stories for life, said the Hokage sadly as Naruto chuckled a bit. You enjoy this, don't you? I would be lying if I said I didn't, so when are you going to allow me to start actually doing normal missions for the village? I have been dying to get my name out there so I can have stronger opponents to fight, said Naruto as the Hokage looked at him sharply. We have already discussed this, Naruto. You are not a weapon for this village. You will be going to the academy and you will deal with it, ordered the Hokage as Naruto skulked a little. Naruto sat there silent for a few seconds before arguing. Why though? They are nothing but a couple of kids that will have no idea what being a shinobi really is. It will do me no good to be put into a class that I will have no reason attending, argued Naruto as the Hokage sat there thinking for a little. I don't care, you may not have had a normal childhood, but you will go to school. This world doesn't need another mindless berserker in it, stated the Hokage as Naruto glared at him. You may regret that decision, No, I won't. Fuck you! Shouted Naruto as he jumped from his seat and jumped out of the closed window, shattering it in the process. He could have just phased through the barrier, muttered the Hokage as he called in a few chunin to begin cleanup. The Hokage then reached beneath his desk and grabbed a little orange book that he had to make the time fly. Just as he opened the book, Naruto's head phased right through the book, scaring the shit out of the Hokage. By the way, Gigi, what is up with all the ceremony preparations? Is there going to be a festival? Asked Naruto as the Hokage took a few seconds to calm down. The Hokage breathed deeply before responding. No, Kumo has asked for a peace meeting dealing with the recent border excursions that have been happening at our borders. It's a good thing too, since we cannot afford to go to war with them at the present moment, he answered as Naruto frowned. You can't, but I can, said Naruto in a sing-song face as the Hokage glared at him. I forbid you from doing anything that will put our village at risk, Naruto, shouted the Hokage as Naruto glared back. I won't do anything, unless they deserve it. I will not let the wicked corrupt the pure, answered back Naruto as he phased away again. I sure hope nothing goes wrong, muttered the Hokage as he turned back to his orange book. Those fools, they have no idea what Kumo is planning, stated Naruto as he stared at the illuminated village. It was only an hour ago that Kumo and Konoha had signed a peace treaty between their villages. None knew, save one, what Kumo was really planning. You see, Naruto was there the second the ambassadors entered through the gates, and it was there that he saw just who had entered the village. The man had to have been one of the darkest souls he had ever encountered. It was when they had first locked eyes that Naruto had caught a short series of flashes picturing the acts that this man had committed. Many of them even made Naruto wince in shock. It was then that he had resolved to kill this man, either in the village or outside, it didn't matter. This man would die by his hands no matter what, treaty be damned. The man had fapped numerous amounts of women from what Naruto could tell. Every single one of them was tortured then, and then finally after a few days they would be killed, slowly. There was no release for those women. However, that was not the worst of what Naruto saw. Age wasn't an issue for this man. If anything, the younger they were, the more satisfaction he had when he was finished breaking their will. Naruto vowed to himself there that not only would this man die, but he would suffer for an eternity trapped within Naruto, subjected to the hell at which he had made forever with absolutely no reprieve. For now, though, Naruto waited while he watched his prey from a great distance. If Naruto hadn't been granted his gift, he would have never even known what this man truly was. He played the part perfectly and smooth-talked many of the people in the crowd with ease. However, Naruto could see that glint in his eyes quite well. They were the eyes of a raging monster, one that could be set loose at a moment's notice on any unfortunate enough to catch him at a bad time. In fact, he was already working on one of his future victims now. Naruto had noticed that they Hyuga were leading the procting on behalf of Konoha, and during the parade Naruto had seen his eyes constantly shift direction to a girl around his age that was following the head of the family. It was obvious the Kumo ninja was going to try something. Whether the Hyuga or not knew didn't matter to him. In his opinion, if the ninja tried something, then he could kill him and get away scot-free. Or not. Didn't really matter to him at this point, as he was already going to kill him. Now all I have to do is wait for him to make a move. I hate waiting, stated Naruto as he continued to watch the sickening parade. It was time. The ninja had finally made his move on the Hyugas and set into motion Naruto's own plan. It was brilliant, and it even fit the parameters of the treaty. The second he set foot outside the walls of the village, would be the second Konoha wouldn't be responsible for his safety. Naruto watched from a distance as the Kumo ninja easily snuck past the Hyuga and reached the young heiress's door. How the hell did he sneak past the Hyugas? They can see through walls and have 360-degree vision, stated Naruto as even he had a hard time sneaking by them. It wasn't a minute later that Naruto saw the man exit the room and make his way for the walls of the compound. It was then that Naruto knew something was wrong with the Hyuga patrols, for there weren't any on this side of the wall, when there were always guards there. Naruto made it his job in the past 3 months to observe or remember all of the patrolling routes that the ninja and clans took around the city. The reason he specifically remembered this one was because it was facing his home, so he liked to make sure the Hyuga weren't spying on him. However, they weren't there on this night, a night where security meant everything for the Hyuga. "Someone is working within the inside," stated Naruto as he quickly figured it out. "No problem though, after I'm done with him I will know who betrayed the village and the Hyuga," thought Naruto as he followed the man from a distance, as the man made his way through the city easily avoiding the patrols. "So it isn't just in the Hyuga? There are moles in the village too." Naruto smiled with glee as he finally saw the man exit the village with the bound 7-year-old girl on his back. "Finally, it's my turn now." "Fools! Soon my village will have the Byakugan and Kumo will be a step closer to reclaiming dominance over the village. That fool of a Raikage wants peace with the Leaf? They are the reason we are so weak in the first place," ranted the man as he jumped from tree to tree. "Please let me go," whimpered bound girl on his shoulders. He had gotten rid of the gag on her mouth to hear her beg to be released. God, how he loved it when they begged for mercy before he broke their spirit, then their body. "Haha, you aren't going anywhere, girl. You will be used to breed a new generation of warriors for Kumo. No nation will stand in our way, and it all starts tonight," retorted the man as Hinata started to sob. "Please someone help me," she cried as loudly as she could, desperately hoping that her father would come or anyone in general. The man just laughed as she cried out into the darkness. "Your cries are just making this better and better for me. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun tonight," he yelled as he came upon a large clearing separating Konoha's forest from the forest of dead trees. However, he stopped dead in his tracks at the edge of the clearing as he spotted a small figure illuminated by the moonlight. It was a small figure no bigger than a child walking towards him slowly. The Kumo ninja tensed in anticipation, believing the child to be no more than a genjutsu casted by a Konoha ninja. He tried to release it, but nothing happened, dispelling that theory. "Hey, mister! What are you doing out here?" asked the boy curiously as he approached the Kumo ninja. The ninja really couldn't make any of the boy's features out as the darkness of the night covered his face. However, he could tell that the boy was no older than the girl he was carrying. "You going to answer, mister? What's that you have on your back?" the boy asked curiously. It was at that moment that the girl started whimpering and whispering out words of help. "Please help me," she whimpered as the boy suddenly looked alert. "Is that a girl? What are you doing? Are you kidnapping Arghar?" screamed the boy as his body was suddenly covered in blue electricity that began to burn the skin of his bones. All the while the boy didn't die. He screamed until finally he fell to the ground twitching as his body gave off the smell of horribly burned flesh. Hinata wasn't able to see the attack hit the boy, but she did hear his screams of pain. She could hear the boy's flesh begin to sizzle and the horrible smell of his burning flesh reached her nostrils, causing her to retch. "That's what happens when you try to escape, princess. I wish I could have made it worse for the boy, but you know, I'm pressed for time if I want to have a little fun later tonight," said the man as he stepped over the burnt corpse of the boy. The ninja was just about to launch himself across the clearing when a surprised gasp sounded from the girl on his shoulder. Then a voice surprised him, a voice he was sure he would never hear again. "Hey, mister! What did you do that for?" came the voice of the boy he had just supposedly killed only a second ago. The ninja spun around and whipped a kunai in the direction the boy's voice came from, and he was surprised to see the kunai plunge deeply into the boy's, now restored body. The boy took a few steps back and fell to the ground as blood leaked from the kunai sticking out of his ribs. "How the hell did he get back up from that?" asked the Kumo ninja as he watched the kid desperately try to stem the blood flow. It was then that the ninja got a good look at the kid. The boy had spiky blonde hair that was now stained with blood and whisker marks on his cheeks. This made the Kumo ninja stop dead in his tracks as he recognized those marks. The Gold and Silver brothers both had the same marks. This boy that he had just killed, again, was a Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi. So the Yondaime didn't kill the Kyuubi after all, he sealed it into a boy. "Pity, we could have used its power in the upcoming war," said the man as Hinata started crying again. "Stop hurting me, mister!" yelled the boy as he grabbed the kunai in his chest and ripped it out of him. Amazingly, the wound healed right up and the blood seemed to disappear. "I only wanted to talk, but if you want to play a game, We can, said the boy as a grin found its way to his face. What the hell are you, kid? Questioned the man as he took a step back in fright. Naruto's grin just turned feral as he sank into the ground right before the ninja's very eyes. And out of the darkness the monster did call. True pain and suffering he brought to them all. Away ran the children to hide in their beds, for fear that the devil would chop off their heads, came the child's voice. It echoed in the clearing, preventing the Kumo ninja from pinpointing the location of the child. What's going on? Yelled the ninja as he kept spinning around looking for ICHeart. That's easy, you will experience pain of the likes which you can't even imagine. All those that you have played your sick games on will smile as they watch you suffer for an eternity in a hell fit for only you, said the child as the Kumo ninja began to sweat. He could feel the bloodlust the child was emitting in the clearing, and it nearly made him just give up and end his own life, but he was better than that. He stabbed his hand with a kunai to snap him out of his daze, but it had the effect of doubling the child's bloodlust. The invisible pressure made him fall to a single knee as he struggled to breathe. Surprisingly, the girl on his shoulders wasn't affected by the pressure at all and was surprisingly quiet for the situation. What the hell is this? Questioned the man as another wave of killing intent hit him. Sweat poured down his face as his hands shook from the terror he was feeling. He stared at the ground as soft footsteps approached him. He forced his head up and stared at the boy that was now only a foot away from him. Do you feel it? The terror that your victims have experienced. The terror of knowing your life was at an end. You are at my mercy, however, I am not so merciful to things like you, stated the child as his eyes glowed crimson red and his whisker marks also began to glow red. The ninja suddenly felt the pressure that was on his body evaporate, and he took his chance. He jumped away as quickly as he could with the girl on his shoulder. I have to get away. I have to escape, he thought desperately. Where do you think you're going? Whispered a voice in his ear. The ninja immediately halted and grabbed Hinata and placed a kunai at the crying girl's neck. Stay back or I'll kill the girl, yelled the ninja desperately as he felt an indescribable amount of terror. You think that will stop me? Yelled the voice as the man suddenly felt his arm get torn off his body. He looked down to see the arm that was holding the girl was no longer there. It had been ripped off at the shoulder and the girl was now free. What the hell are you? Yelled the man in panic as he looked everywhere for the boy. Isn't it obvious by now? I am the one that is going to kill you, the monster that shall consume your soul and make you suffer for an eternity, stated the voice as Naruto appeared on a tree only 10 meters away from the Kumo ninja. Fuck you! Retone, Thunder God's wrath! Yelled the man as he shot a large bolt of lightning out of his mouth at the grinning kid. The bolt hit the kid with a large explosion of energy. Ha ha ha, there's no way you could have survived that, laughed the ninja, but then the smoke cleared. What the hell? Yelled the man as he spotted the burnt and destroyed corpse of the boy slowly begin to pull itself together. From the corpse a group of large black dogs began to come from his body. They had glowing red eyes and their yellow teeth seemed to shine in the darkness. They were formless though and outlined with crimson light. The Kumo ninja literally shit himself at the sight of the dogs all staring at him with hungry eyes. This is impossible! Yelled the ninja as he took a step back in fear as the dogs watched his every move with hungry eyes. Impossible, you say? No, this is justice for the sins you have committed, this is retribution for all those you have hurt. You made yourself feel powerful when you hurt those people, but now that you are in a similar situation you panic like worm you are, stated Naruto as the dogs gathered around him. Fuck you! I'm an elite jounin and I won't go down like this, yelled the man as he pulled out a kunai with his last remaining arm. I'm going to kill you! He yelled as he charged. So pathetic, sighed Naruto as he lifted his arm up and opened his palm. Devour him, my hounds! He stated as the spectral dogs charged at the ninja. The sound of flesh and bone being torn apart and devoured was covered by the inhuman scream of pain that came from the man as the hounds devoured every last piece of his body and soul. Not even a snack, muttered Naruto as he sorted through the memories of his victim. Akatsuki, second time that name has come up in a victim's memories. I may have to deal with them in the future, muttered Naruto as he walked off into the darkness to look for the girl he had just rescued earlier. Hinata Hyuga looked wildly around in the darkness with her Byakugan activated. She was confused and terrified by the events that had taken place only moments ago that night. It was only 30 minutes ago that she had been safe underneath the covers of her bed. That changed when that man came into her room. Before she knew anything was wrong, he had already bound her and carried her out of her room and towards the walls of Konoha. Once outside the walls, though, was when she truly lost hope of being found. The man had taunted her as they jumped from tree to tree, and she truly felt like she was going to die. That all changed when they ran into that young boy, the one she remembered from the park only a year ago. He had rescued her then, but this time she was witness to him being cooked alive by the maniac that had abducted her. However, he didn't die though. He came back and tried to confront her abductor again. Once again, though, she bore witness to his supposed death, as a kunai was lodged deeply into his ribs. It was then that she learned why she was told to stay away from him. He was the container of the Kyuubi. A beast that had decimated the leaf in one night only to be sealed away into the blonde boy. To her surprise, though, it didn't kill him. He just simply complained a little as he easily pulled the kunai out and disappeared from her sight. Next thing she knew was being pulled through the air and simply losing her grip on reality. She had woken in the small clearing that she was currently sitting in, frantically looking for anyone to come get her. She picked up a figure coming towards her from the darkness, so she jumped away and stared at the grinning blonde boy. She was glad to see him all right, but a few things alarmed her. The blonde was currently covered in a layer of fresh blood that she speculated didn't belong to him. Second, was the fact that his smile wasn't a normal smile. It was a cruel grin, and his teeth shone brightly in the darkness, and each one was sharp and pointed. The last reason were the glowing crimson eyes and whisker marks that were on his face. It seemed that her reaction to him had actually caused the blonde to smile even more, as if he enjoyed the sight of people cringing away from him. It seemed like forever before either made any attempt to talk. "Hinata Hyuga, it is good to see you again. I'm not sure if you know my name yet, but let me introduce myself anyway. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, your new friend," Naruto stated smoothly as his grin grew and Hinata's breath started to quicken. Miles away, a group of people were huddled around a large glowing stone covered with purple runes. They all gave off a presence of bloodlust as they chanted words of a forgotten language in an ancient ritual. Suddenly, the leader of the group of people stood above the rest and removed his hood, showing a pale, scarred face and dark violet eyes. He breathed deeply as his comrades suddenly stopped their chant at once. "My friends, the blood moon has finally come. It is time to unleash our horror upon the world once more. May Jashin be praised!" he yelled as his followers began to chant in the ancient language once more. Suddenly, a large rune appeared beneath every one of them. It was a symbol of hate that had not been seen by the likes of the civilized world in centuries, for it brought hate and destruction wherever it came. Each one of the cultists was branded with the symbol to show their devotion to the cause that they all believed in. On this night, Millennium was born once more. Okay, class, I would like to congratulate you all on making it this far. I hope that many of you can stick it out for the rest of the year and become shinobi for the village, declared the teacher as he gazed fondly at the class before him. Irika Yumino had been teaching this class for years now, and he knew that this class had the potential to be one of the strongest generation of ninja ever. They were the heirs of several clans and a large group of civilian children that were quite strong considering their background. They had to be strong considering the new curriculum that the Hokage put into effect a few years ago. Something about him needing people to keep up with him. Iruka always pondered why the Hokage would listen to just one man, but it wasn't his place to question the Hokage. Now there will be a few changes this year, mostly in the area of physical training and practical exercises and techniques. Loud groans came from the female portion of the class at this, but Iruka continued on as if nothing ever happened. Also, we will be getting 2 new students this year. I don't know why they weren't with us before, and the Hokage told me not to ask. As soon as he was done talking, the whole class broke out in excited whispering or angry protests, since the 2 kids didn't even have to go through all they held they had gone through for the past 5 years of their lives. "Silence!" yelled Iruka, shutting the class up instantly. "From what I know, they have been taught a bit by instructors and should be at your level. Now they should be here any second now." Silence followed Irika's statement as many of the students began to theorize about who the two students were. They were obviously known by the Hokage as he had personally spoken to Irika about the issue. That was when the class heard a quiet knock at the door. Irika stood up from his desk and walked over to the door and opened it to find a young girl with long lavender hair and a sweet smile on her face. Irika couldn't help but smile at the young girl as she gave off absolutely no ill will at all. However, that smile was gone when he gazed at who/what stood behind the girl. The boy, he presumed, was wearing a large torn black robe that completely hid his face from view in the shadow of the hood. The only things he could make out was that there were two bright blue eyes looking at him through the shadow and a very wide and toothy smile that seemed to put Irika on guard. However, what stood out the most was the intent that he was feeling from the boy. It was an underlying hint of bloodlust that seemed to be barely controlled, and at a moment's notice it could be unleashed, and God bless those that had it unleashed upon them. Then there was a field of gravity around him that made it slightly difficult to breathe. Only pure power could produce such an effect. So you must be Hinata Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki. I wasn't expecting you so soon. The Hokage said that you had business to attend to before you could be here, stated Irika. We would have been late, but Naruto was impatient and wanted to see what school would be like, answered Hinata in a sweet voice as Naruto's grin widened a bit. They were no fun, so I killed them quickly, said Naruto as Irika looked at him trying to decipher whether that was the truth or not. Pardon his attitude, he hasn't been in a good mood lately and last night's meal was hardly adequate, said Hinata as Irika nodded, but the two noticed a trail of sweat run down his forehead. What is the Hokage thinking? Putting him with a bunch of kids is going to completely backfire, though Irika as he eyed Naruto nervously. Don't worry, sensei, he won't hurt anyone. Unless I tell him to, of course, said Hinata as she smiled affectionately at Naruto. Okay, well then come on in and let me introduce you two to the class. Just tell them your names, likes and dislikes. Okay class, these are our two new students I was telling you about, said Irika as he stepped to the center of the class followed by the Hinata and Naruto. When they entered, the entire room went completely silent as they gazed at the two new students. The majority of the boys had their eyes fixated on Hinata with unhidden lust as her pale skin shined in the light of the room. For those not fixated on the spell, that was Hinata, they were eyeing Naruto for they could sense a great deal of power from the cloaked figure. The girls were glaring at either Hinata or most of the male population as they were jealous of blue-haired beauty before them. She gave off such a warm feeling that even some of the girls couldn't help but feel a little attracted to her. The only reason most of the girls were glaring was due to the fact that even a certain Uchiha seemed to be eyeing the girl up himself. The only ones in the room that weren't paying any attention to Hinata were Shino Aburame, Shikamaru Nara, and Kiba Inuzuka. Shino was able to sense that the one in the cloak was extremely powerful, and his chakra was very dark and powerful. Kiba could smell the blood coming from Naruto, and his dog Akamaru was whimpering in fear at the cloaked feature. Shikamaru could feel the power rolling off him and simply muttered troublesome as resumed his nap. Please introduce yourselves to the class. Then you can take a seat at the top row, said Irika as he took a seat next to his assistant Mizuki. Irika, is that who I think it is? He asked in a timid voice. I believe it is Mizuki, but if the Hokage thinks it is alright then we have no room to argue, explained Irika with a sigh. Hinata took a step forward and smiled sweetly to the class, oblivious to the way they were acting, and started. Hello, my name is Hinata Hyuga and I am currently the heir to the Hyuga clan. My likes include training, flower pressing, and my only friend Naruto here. My dislikes include rapists, perverts, and those that have hurt my friend Naruto, she said with her smile still on her face. The class then turned to Naruto with an expectant look, but he just stood there with his smile showing through the shadows of his hood. Naruto, muttered Hinata as he turned to look at her and finally stepped forward. Hello? My name's Naruto Uzumaki, he shouted in childish voice that contrasted completely with his choice of clothing. My likes include blood, guts, screams, my teachers, and my master. Hinata scowled slightly at that last part. My dislikes include most of you, rapists, those of utter darkness. Naruto finished his introduction with childish laugh that soon turned to full-blown maniacal laughter that sent a chill down most of the kids' spines. "Okay, you two can take your seats up at the back now," said Iruka as the two walked to back of the class with Hinata at the lead. "Naruto, what did I tell you about calling me your master?" Hinata asked as soon as they were in their seats. "I will always call you master, until the day I believe it is no longer needed for me to do so," said Naruto as Hinata reminisces to the day her whole life turned around. X. Flashback. X. Am I a new friend? What do you mean? Stuttered out Hinata as Naruto circled her like a predator circling its prey. Exactly what I meant it mean. There are very few people in this world that I can trust. I can tell by just looking into your eyes now that I can trust you. I've never encountered something like this before," said Naruto as he sniffed at the air and his smile grew a little. "Besides, your scent is intoxicating. I'm half tempted now to just drain you and be done with it." At that comment, Hinata paled even further as Naruto's teeth glinted in the moonlight. What? She managed to squeak out as Naruto looked into her eyes once more. "You don't know who I am, do you?" asked Naruto as Hinata shook her head. "You saved a year ago from a bunch of bullies during my first week in the academy," she stated as Naruto got a thoughtful look on his face before he started to smile again. That explains how you know who I am. I guess the better question would be if you knew what I truly am?" asked Naruto again as Hinata looked confused. What or why you?" she asked timidly as Naruto smiled at her. "I am a monster in all sense of the word, girl. I have killed many and will kill many more in the future, yet you are not too frightened of me right now. Why is that?" he asked as Hinata looked at him questioningly. "Why would I be afraid of you? You helped me from that animal. If you wanted to hurt me, you would have already done so by now," she answered as Naruto's smile became a bit more gentle. "That is a very good answer, my dear. Perhaps you are the one I have been waiting for. However, we might have to call this meeting to an end as I sense a group of powerful ninja on their way," said Naruto just before the Hokage and a group of Hyuga landed on the scene. Thus the two had met in the most unlikely circumstance, and somehow they were able to become the best of friends, as Hinata called it. Naruto liked to think of her as his master for some reason. Said it had something to do with his nature, but she didn't really believe him. Following the incident, Naruto was hired as her main bodyguard at all times since he didn't really need to sleep due to his condition. This also had the effect of giving him equal status as a chunin, but that was kept secret from the rest of the village for fear of their safety. Being around Naruto for days on end with no reprieve really changed Hinata's attitude quite a bit too. No longer was she shy, weak, or timid and prone to stuttering. Now she was a confident, skilled warrior that could lure any man around her age in and enact her trap. You see, Hinata had many strengths, but her best were the many genjutsu that she could use. Her Byakugan, believe it or not, was special as it helped her cast area effect genjutsu even better than any Sharingan ever could. However, she had also, with the help of Naruto, made the Juken much more deadly. She and only she could use it actually. It worked like the Juken, but instead of shutting down the chakra points, it would literally turn everything the chakra touches into jelly except skin. Even bone never stood a chance. This was only used when she fought Naruto or when Hinata was forced to follow him to take out a bandit camp to make sure he behaved, since Naruto would only completely listen to her. Now they were both sitting in the middle of a classroom surrounded by children that had no idea what the real world was like. It was humiliating, but the Hokage had insisted that they needed to do this if they wanted to be promoted to Jonin. "Well, class, I'm sorry, but Mizuki-sensei and I have to get to the Hokage's tower for a few minutes to discuss something about the new schedule," stated Iruka as Mizuki, and he walked out of the room. Immediately the class broke out into excited shouts and discussions about the two new students sitting at the back of the room. Some of the more outgoing students approached the two and tried to start up conversations, but only Hinata would speak, as Naruto tended to just grin at every student in a creepy manner and scare them away. However, a few kids, a bit larger than the rest of the class, quickly approached Hinata and Naruto. Cliché, I know, lol, but it gives me an excuse to introduce Naruto's weapons. "Hey! So what makes the two of you so special that you didn't have to join our class till now? Demanded the leader of the group of boys as he glared at Hinata and Naruto. Don't know, maybe we just don't suck like the rest of you, said Naruto mockingly as the three boys' faces grew red, as did most of the class. You have a lot of nerve insulting us. It wouldn't be too hard to kick your butts for saying something like that, said the largest of the boys in deep and slow voice. And it wouldn't be hard to fuck your mom. Doesn't mean I would advise it though, responded Naruto quickly as the boys' glare deepened and Hinata giggled at the response. Oh Naruto, you always have to piss them off, don't you? She asked innocently as one of the boys made to grab at her to shut her up. However, he was froze an instant later, as he felt something pressed against the bottom of his chin. Naruto had moved faster than anyone else in the room could see and had pulled something out of his cloak and placed it under the boy's chin. It was a strange weapon no one in the room had seen before, but judging from the grin on Naruto's face, it was extremely dangerous. Do you know what this is? Asked Naruto as if he was asking a question to his parents. This is perhaps one of the few things in life that I truly enjoy. I call it judgment, for it judges one's soul with a .50 caliber slug that is fired faster than the speed of sound. One hit from it will result in the complete annihilation of your life. Now if I ever see any of you bothering my master again, I will personally ensure that I will be the one to pass judgment onto you, threatened Naruto in a dark voice as Hinata sighed. Flashback. Do you use any weapons at all, Naruto? Questioned Hinata as she eyed Naruto's bloody fangs and claws. Naruto just smirked at her before he eyed the group of 10 bandits surrounding him. Don't worry, master, Naruto purred out softly. I just don't like using my favorite weapon against trash like them, said Naruto softly as the bandits growled at the two kids that had slaughtered most of the camp. But do you have those weapons? Asked Hinata as Naruto's grin grew wider as he suddenly pulled out a large strange weapon and pointed it at one of the bandits. What is that going to do, kid? It's not even sharp, laughed the bandit as Naruto's grin turned into a feral smile. Let's see what it can do. Bang! Yelled Naruto so loudly that most of the bandits had to cover their ears. But the weapon did nothing and the bandits began to laugh, but Naruto's smile didn't falter. How your weapon did? Bang, and suddenly that bandit was nothing more than a pile of meat as the .50 caliber round ripped through his torso. Suddenly all hell broke loose as Naruto slowly began to pick off each and every one of the remaining bandits as they attempted to make a run for it. In just a few seconds the 10 bodies, if you could call them that, laid around Naruto and Hinata as Naruto blew the smoke out of his smoking barrel. Messy, commented Naruto as he wiped some blood away from his cloak. No more messy than using those claws of yours, responded Hinata. What do you call that thing? I named it judgment, for I will only use it on those that I have judged to be evil and beyond salvation. All those that relish in the suffering in the world shall face down judgment's barrel and beg forgiveness, proclaimed Naruto. So poetic, sighed Hinata sarcastically. I thought so too, replied Naruto as he quickly sunk his teeth into the fleshy mess that used to be a bandit and began to tear through it, swallowing chunks at a time. I hope it's not too weird to say that when you eat them it makes me hungry, said Hinata to no one in particular. The entire classroom was silent as they watched Naruto as he squeezed the trigger a bit, and the boy began to cry a bit. My, did someone have a little accident? Asked Naruto as the class saw that there was a wet spot forming in the boy's jeans. That's enough, Naruto. Stop playing around, I can handle myself, scolded Hinata as she laid her hand upon Naruto's arm. He cocked his eye at her, but then slowly pulled his gun away and growled at the kid, causing him and his friends to run away. It was then that Irika chose to enter the room just in time to have to jump out of the way of a crying boy. What just happened? Asked Irika as the whole class looked at Naruto with fearful eyes. 9 months later. To describe the year for most of the students of Irika's class that year would to compare it to hell on earth. Irika still didn't understand why the Hokage had insisted on having Naruto and Hinata join their class at the beginning of the year. The two of them were already powerhouses and frankly they scared the crap out of Irika, at least Naruto did. However, he did find that the two generally kept to themselves while they were at the school. Things only became a problem when someone would get it in their heads that it was a good idea to piss one of them off. They would either run out of the classroom crying and having pissed their pants or too frightened to move. Maybe it was the first time Naruto demonstrated his revolver, named Judgment. He swiftly pulled it out and blew 6 dummies up within the span of a second, to Irika and Mizuki's surprise, for neither man could track the bullets with their eyes. That was when the first serious incident happened in the class. You see, one Uchiha named Sasuke decided that Naruto's weapon was rightfully his. That didn't work out too well, as Naruto nearly killed the kid, but thankfully Hinata had stopped Naruto right before the trigger had been pulled, thankfully saving Sasuke's life. Ever since then, Sasuke and nearly all the class had hated Naruto with a passion. There were only a few people that he permitted to sit by him, and they were Shino and Abduction. Shino never bothered Naruto, so there were no problems. Shikamaru Nara was also one of the few, as he could actually maintain a discussion with the bloodthirsty boy and not get freaked out. Then even Choji Akimichi was even allowed close to the blonde. Maybe it was the fact that he never once felt threatened by Choji. It was weird in a way, as he could tell that Naruto relished the thought of killing people and draining them, as he put it, but he still only directed his bloodlust to those that he believed deserved it. Maybe he really wasn't that bad, just a boy trying to cope with the cards he was dealt, mused Irika as he looked over the Genin teams that were to be put together that very day. Irika quickly listed the teams off and finally came to the very last few teams that he believed would really do anything at all in the future. So Team 7 will have Kakashi Hatake as their Jounin sensei, and that team is made up of Shino Abduction, Hinata Hyuga, and Naruto Uzumaki, he said, and was pleasantly surprised to see that all 3 seemed pretty happy about the team. Team 8 will have Kurenai, forget last name LOL, as their sensei. That team will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Kiba Inuzuka, and Sakura Haruno. At that, all hell broke loose in the class as every fangirl started screaming about not being on Sasuke's team, especially Ino Yamanaka, who was being laughed at by Sakura Haruno. Irika tried to retain control of the class, but the fangirls wouldn't shut up. He had never seen it so bad. Even his big head jutsu failed to quiet them. Bang! Naruto's gun went off, blasting a pretty large hole in the ceiling, but effectively shutting the girls up. Please continue, sensei, he said with a grin as he leaked a large amount of killing intent that prevented many of the girls from crying out in rage at Naruto. Okay then, Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 will have Asuma Sarutobi as their sensei, and that team will consist of Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka, he finished. Suddenly Irika was greeted by a sight he thought he would never see in his life. For you see, there entering into the classroom, not reading his famous literature, on time, was Kakashi Hatake. Hello Irika, pleasant day huh? He asked cheerfully. Yeah, Kakashi-senpai, responded Irika with a smile as he got control over his emotions once more. Okay, Team 9, let's head out to the training ground 9, follow me, he stated to the class cheerfully. Naruto, Hinata, and Shino all followed Kakashi out of the room and into their new lives as a team. Miles away in Wave Country. Day man ahaha, fighter of the night man ahaha, sang out a large teen in a suit through a large number of kunai at a large group of peasants, and watched in satisfaction as they ripped through the large group. Champion of the sun ahaha, you're a master of karate and friendship for everyone. He continued singing as he watched the last of the kunai twist and turn in the air before striking the last man multiple amount of times, causing him to be ripped to shreds by the large amount of kunai. What the hell is that guy singing? Asked a thug as he watched in disgust as the man easily killed the group of peasants. I don't know, man. That dude is seriously messed up. He has to be from across the sea or something. He doesn't even speak English most of the time, said the other thug as the man passed them. Das ist gut. Ja? He asked them in German as the thugs looked confused at his speech, but he just ignored their looks. We must get back to headquarters. Gato won't want us being too late now, would he? He asked in a heavily foreign voice as he hummed the song he had only been singing earlier, at a leisurely pace. So this is my new team? Asked Kakashi dryly as he stared at his 3 new charges impassively. Probably the most interesting I have ever been assigned. Naruto's grin grew large as he licked his lips in satisfaction at having Kakashi as his team leader. A part of him had feared that the old man would give him some wimpy jounin as his leader. Now he didn't have to worry about hiding any of his quirks. Hinata smiled sweetly in response and nodded at her teacher. Kakashi had been instrumental in helping her to control the super-powered monster that she loved with her whole heart. She also knew that Kakashi was perhaps the strongest jounin in Konoha, so Naruto wouldn't be too bored during his spars. Last was, unbelievably, the wild card of the team, Shino Aburame. Unlike the other, Kakashi had never once met the Aburame heir, but from talking to Shibi he had learned that Shino got along with Naruto and Hinata just fine and was pushing himself to keep up with the two other juggernauts. Yes, he would be a perfect addition to the team. Shino arched an eyebrow as observed the actions of his two new teammates and sensei. Word had spread through the leaf about both Naruto and Hinata, how both were deadly monsters. Hinata, the sweet, beautiful, and innocent girl who seemed to lower the guard of everyone in the room just by her smile. Then she would strike with lethal precision, making sure not a single movement was wasted. He had watched as she tore through everyone back at the academy, yet she never once showed that she was trying. Then there was Naruto, the demon or monster depending on whom you asked throughout the village. He was a sadistic sociopath who enjoyed playing with his opponents, or victims depending on who you asked. The academy had shown just how far he would go to mock his opponents. Shino had observed him allowing his opponents to deal lethal blows only to fake his death and crush his opponents. His bugs outright refused to even drain the blonde's chakra, saying that his chakra was too foul for them to eat. Such a being would completely dominate any fight against him, so for the past year he had begun training in new skills just in case others like Naruto existed. He had learned several fire jutsu and started to focus more on strength and speed for a taijutsu form he had been learning from a few of his cousins. They had been teaching him their own forms as he bastardized them and made them into something of his own. Then he had been strengthening his hive by having them adapt the roughest of conditions to ensure their survival in a fight. There was no doubt in his mind that he had improved over the past year. Sure, he hadn't improved to the point at which he could defeat Naruto, but his chances had improved and even a slight increase was enough for him. Well, Team 7, as you probably know, my name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes include reading and training. My dislikes include people unable to work as a team and people who diss my favorite series. My dream for the future is to make a few people rest easy in the afterlife, stated Kakashi as he looked at Naruto expectantly. Naruto showed his creepy smile as he began to contemplate what to say. Well, as you know, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes include blood, guts, screams, dinner, blood, training, my older brothers, my master Hinata. My dislikes include the Sharingan, Danzo, and those that hurt my master. My dream for the future is to find my place in the world. The whole introduction was done in a childish voice until the end. Shino arched an eyebrow at this information as he had never expected that from the blonde before him. Glancing at Hinata, he saw genuine concern in her eyes as she stared at the blonde. You're up next, Pale Eyes, stated Kakashi as he had to duck his head to avoid being impaled by a kunai thrown by Naruto. I don't take kindly to people insulting my master wolf, stated Naruto with his eyes red and killing intent leaking out. However, his eyes returned to normal as Hinata laid her hand upon his arm. It's okay, Naruto, he was just joking, stated Hinata sweetly as Naruto huffed and crossed his arms. Okay then, my name is Hinata Hyuga. My likes include Naruto, gardening, protecting my loved ones, and on occasion making bad people suffer. Naruto snickered at this before Hinata continued. My dislikes include rapists, perverts, those who have hurt Naruto, and being called master. My dream for the future is show someone that they aren't just a monster, and to be a good leader for the Hyuga clan. Now how about you, Shades? Asked Kakashi as he looked at Shino with his single exposed eye. My name is Shino Aburame. My likes include any species of bugs, my family, and training. My dislikes include those who judge others before they get to know them, people who don't understand what it means to be a ninja, and rapists. My dream for the future is to be a strong shinobi, and be a great clan leader, stated Shino. This shocked both his teammates as they had never seen him talk so much. Really? You don't people who judge others before they get to know them? Well, I would like to know what you think of me after a year of knowing me? Questioned Naruto as he appeared right before Shino's face. All that I have heard about you is that you are a bloodthirsty, sadistic, sociopathic, and frigid monster that cares little for anything at all. The only reason you even allowed the village to exist is due to the fact that you enjoyed the fear that the village has for you, and once you have achieved your sick fetish you will kill everyone. Stated Shino without even once shivering as Naruto frowned at him. I'm not frigid. He stated as if that part of the description was the only thing to upset him. But what do you think, Shades? From observing you for the past year I have deduced that you would never harm an innocent or someone that has ever wronged you. You care deeply about the ones you care about, evidenced from you nearly killing anyone that talks ill of Hinata. However, that bloodthirsty aspect of yours comes from a need to survive other than just pleasure, as I have never seen you eat normal food but your breath reeks of blood. Despite all that, I believe you will be an excellent teammate. Stated Shino as Naruto just smiled in response. I like this one. Can we keep him? Asked Naruto childishly as both Kakashi and Hinata sighed in annoyance. Kakashi was the first to regain himself and answered said question. That depends entirely on the three of you tomorrow. Now I know that all three of you are strong enough to be ninja, but do you truly understand what it means to be a ninja for the village? So tomorrow we will have a survival test to determine if you have what it takes, do you? The three genins' reactions varied, but he could see in each of their eyes, except Shino, raw and burning determination to pass his test. Naruto smiled in bloodlust at the possibilities to come, and Hinata just smiled her sweet smile. Okay, we will meet tomorrow at Training Ground 7 at 0600 to begin the test. Get a good night of sleep and don't eat breakfast tomorrow or you might puke, said Kakashi with an eye smile as he disappeared. Well, I'm hungry. Anyone dare to join me in dining at Konoha's prison tonight? Asked Naruto suddenly as he stood up. I'm going to have to decline, stated Shino. I'm sorry, Naruto, but father requests our presence tonight, besides you ate earlier, stated Hinata as Naruto pouted at not getting his snack. Fine. Let's get this over with then, said Naruto as he grabbed Hinata and the two of them disappeared in a black shadow that consumed the two. Interesting, mumbled Shino as he headed home. So that's it? We just have to get those bells? Asked Hinata as she eyed Kakashi suspiciously. Yep. The two that receive the bell get to be a part of my team. The one that doesn't gets nothing. Ready? Begin! Yelled Kakashi as he disappeared in a cloud of mist. Smart. We have yet to see the real Kakashi yet, so I haven't acquired his scent. Master, do you have an idea where he is? Asked Naruto with a grin as Shino contemplated what he would do next. Shino and I will try to locate him. Shino's beetles will be able to cover a great distance and my Byakugan can look for clues, stated Hinata as she turned to Naruto to see him walking off into the woods. Where do you think you're going? She asked in confusion. You two have this handled. I'm going to take a walk in the woods, called out Naruto merrily as he disappeared into the trees. We have a test to complete, and Kakashi could ambush you at any moment, she cried out in irritation. A very enthusiastic walk through the woods, came Naruto's voice as Hinata turned to face Shino. Since he refuses to listen today, we are going to have to work together, Shino. Without Naruto here, the only chance to defeat Kakashi is if we work together, so let's locate him and plan from there, commanded Hinata as Shino nodded. Agreed, this test is obviously meant to test our teamwork. However, I was afraid you two would leave me behind since you could get the bells on your own, stated Shino as Hinata smiled at him. We could, but we like you Shinos, so we wouldn't have done that to you. However, Naruto is still mad that I made him sit through a council meeting last night at my clan, answered Hinata as Shino readjusted his sunglasses as his beetles flew out of his jacket to look for Kakashi. Why would he have to sit in on the meeting? Asked Shino curiously. Think of it as a way to annoy a being that cannot die and doesn't understand normal human emotions and leave it at that, stated Hinata with a smile. He doesn't understand that you love him, deadpan Shino. Yep. So until he does, I will do stuff like that to him, answered Hinata cheerfully. Strange. finished Shino as he followed Hinata into the woods. Hinata was quite surprised by the skill that Shino had shown in their brief encounter with Kakashi after they had located him. Hinata had quickly engaged Kakashi in a taijutsu bout, but she was forced to retreat when Kakashi overwhelmed her. However, Shino had been waiting and sprung a fire jutsu on Kakashi, forcing him to substitute. After that, Hinata and Shino had settled in a small routine of Hinata attacking while Shino supported her from a distance with his fire jutsu and beetles. If Naruto had been there, they probably would already have their bells. Well shit! Looks like I found Kakashi! Speak of the devil, Naruto had just walked out of a patch of trees with his revolver already out. This could be bad, stated Kakashi as he jumped away from Hinata. Damn straight! Came Naruto from behind him as the one that had appeared earlier dissolved into a mist. Kakashi only narrowly escaped the fist that smashed into the ground from the crazed blonde. Impressive! You're faster now than what you used to be! Cried out Naruto with a crazed grin as he brought his gun up and fired 3 successive rounds. The first 2 Kakashi was able to narrowly avoid, but the third ripped his left arm off at the shoulder in a gory display. However, Kakashi disappeared in puff of smoke, signaling that it was a shadow clone. How did you know it was shadow clone, Naruto? Asked Shino as Hinata and Shino joined the blonde. What? Oh, I didn't know! Muhahaha, laughed Naruto as Shino's sweat dropped, trying to decipher if the blonde was telling the truth or not. Fire style, great fireball! Yelled Kakashi as he fired a powerful blast of fire at the 3 genin. Time for you to go! Yelled Naruto as he grabbed Shino and threw him out of the ball of fire's path. Kaiten! Yelled Hinata as she used her most powerful defensive technique to shield her from the attack. Naruto just stood there with a smile as the ball of fire consumed him in all its blazing glory. Shino watched in horror as the blonde just smiled as the skin melted off his face, exposing the muscle and tendons to expose before burning themselves away. The flames finally died down, and all that was left was the scorched remains of blonde monster that was to be his teammate. Hinata's Kaiten finally quit, revealing her to be looking down at Naruto's corpse in anger. Why wouldn't she be angry? The person she loved had just died by the hands of their sensei. Stop playing around, Naruto! If you focus, we can go hunting tonight, said Hinata as she kicked his corpse. Shino couldn't understand what she was doing, but to his utter surprise the corpse sat up. You're no fun! Cried out Naruto as his body began to heal itself at an extraordinary pace. It only took a few seconds for Naruto and his clothes to be restored to normal, to Shino's astonishment. Well, let's get this done. I'm hungry! Yelled Naruto as he charged at Kakashi with Hinata on his tail. You know what, I don't even care, mumbled Shino as he followed his 2 teammates into the attack. Can I just eat it? Asked Naruto as he eyed their target with hunger clearly showing in his eyes. After we are finished you can, Naruto, answered Hinata as Naruto looked at her with a big smile. Thank you, Hinata, said Naruto, catching himself from calling her master. She had ordered him to call her Hinata while on any mission to show that Kakashi was in charge, at least that's what she told him. In truth, Hinata loved it when Naruto said her name, each time it made goosebumps run down her spine. Team 7 reporting. Mission to capture Tora was a success, reported Kakashi as he watched the fire daimyo's wife grab her cat, oblivious to the looks of hunger Naruto was giving it. Well, it seems you are correct. Now would you like any new missions for today? There is a mission to paint the academy today if you would like, asked the Hokage as he also eyed Naruto's obvious hunger for the cat. Actually, I would like to have a C-rank mission. Shino had improved by leaps and bounds and Naruto is starting to get antsy, as you can tell. I believe a C-rank is exactly what my team needs right now, stated Kakashi as the Hokage stared at him carefully. Are you sure, Kakashi? They have only been a team for 2 weeks now, stated the Hokage as Kakashi nodded in reply. I believe that all 3 are above the average chunin in strength. Any normal C-rank would be too easy for these 3, but I would rather have Shino have combat experience before we tackle a B-rank, stated Kakashi as Shino looked floored at so much trust being put on him. Besides, Naruto and I are both above Jounin level, so we can handle anything that comes at us. stated Kakashi as Naruto nodded, in rare showing of how serious he was. Hinata is also B rank, stated Naruto as Hinata smiled sweetly at him. I'm surprised, Naruto, that's the first time you have called me Hinata while not on a mission, stated Hinata in happiness. A mistake, deadpanned Naruto as Hinata hit him in the gut with a powerful jukin, but he barely felt it. I hate how invincible you are, she pouted as the Hokage coughed to get their attention. Well, I think I have just the perfect mission for you. Send in the bridge builder, called out the Hokage as an old drunk man walked into the room with a beer in hand. So this is my team? Well, I like these two, but the girl, she doesn't look much like a ninja, stated the drunk man as Hinata just smiled sweetly at him. Don't worry, Tazuna, I have killed many who have said the same thing you have before, said Hinata sweetly as Naruto chuckled. Right, drawled out Tazuna as he watched Hinata carefully. Well, we will be leaving tomorrow at 8. As Tazuna left the room, Kakashi got the attention of his team again. Be prepared for a month-long mission, no telling how long this bridge will take to finish. Remember, be there at 0800 tomorrow. We'll be there, called out Naruto as he disappeared. Damn! You're going to that meeting tonight, Naruto, yelled Hinata as she jumped out of the room after Naruto. So what's his problem? Tazuna asked Hinata as they were a few hours away from the village. He has no problems, it's that village that has the problem, stated Hinata as Tazuna looked at her weirdly. Are you kidding? That kid is insane. All he talks about is killing people and eating him, argued Tazuna as Hinata glared at him. He saved me when I was a child from growing up as a sex slave to only breed children with the Byakugan. You don't know what happened to him as a child. It's amazing he doesn't just go around killing everyone he knows, growled out Hinata as Tazuna decided to stop arguing. Okay, I guess I don't know him, but Konoha is said to be the most tolerant of all villages, stated Tazuna as Hinata scoffed at that. Maybe to most, but not him. I'd rather not talk about it and listen to you complain about him, when you don't even know him, stated Hinata as Tazuna decided to walk over to Shino. So what's your opinion on the blonde? He asked as Shino turned to look at him. He had a horrible childhood, so he changed. Be lucky that he doesn't kill the innocent, stated Shino as Tazuna got the picture and decided to just talk to Kakashi. He's right, you know, I am nothing but a monster, came Naruto's voice from beside Hinata. No, he isn't. Despite what you believe, a monster wouldn't do the things you do, started Hinata as she turned to look at Naruto. You have saved hundreds of people in the past few years from slavery and death. Never once have you asked for anything in return, or have you killed someone who didn't deserve it. A monster wouldn't do something like that. The Naruto I know isn't a monster. Naruto stared intently at Hinata for a few seconds before he turned away and resumed his position at the front of the group. One couldn't tell how those words had affected him, but underneath Naruto could feel the walls he had put up years ago slowly begin to crack. A few hours later, the group was approaching a large puddle in the road. Immediately, all 4 ninja in the group tensed in preparation, as Tazuna took extra care to avoid it. When the group had passed, 2 ninja wearing spiked gauntlets charged at Kakashi. To the untrained eye, Kakashi was quickly wrapped in a metal chain, and before he could do anything, he was ripped to shreds by the 2 ninja. Then the 2 ninja charged at Tazuna with their chain, but a shot rang out as the chain connecting them was blown apart by Naruto's revolver. Hinata and Shino, take the one on the right. This one is mine, yelled Naruto as he disappeared only to reappear and land a solid punch to the ninja's gut. The ninja flipped through the air and came at Naruto again with his gauntlet poised to strike. You little shit! I'm going to fillet you, yelled the ninja as he swung at a grinning Naruto. Knowing it wasn't a good time to screw around, Naruto grabbed the gauntlet, crushed it in his hand. The ninja screamed in pain as he stared at the stump of flesh and bone that used to be his arm. However, that didn't last long as Naruto grabbed the ninja's head, pulled it straight into the awaiting sights of judgment. The other ninja had already been crippled by a strike by Hinata when he saw his brother's life end in a short, gory fashion. Gozu! He yelled in horror, but suddenly his vision went black as Hinata knocked him out. It was at that moment that Kakashi reappeared in front of his team with a small wave. Good job, team! He cheered as Tazuna finally regained his bearings. But I just saw you die. How are you here? He asked as Kakashi smiled at him. Ninja have many tricks to escape death, he said nonchalantly, but then his attitude did a 180 as he glared at Tazuna. Now why don't you tell me why these ninja were after you? I don't know what you mean, Tazuna shouted nervously as sweat poured down his weary face. It's okay, sensei, I can find out why right now. That is if you let me? Asked Naruto hopefully as he eyed the fallen brother. Okay, everyone, it is up to you if you want to watch what is about to happen. Don't worry, no one will look down on you for not being able to handle it, stated Kakashi as Naruto walked up to the knocked out ninja. Such a blackened soul, fate, murder, theft, and betrayal, muttered Naruto as he woke the ninja up. Immediately the ninja responded by trying to punch Naruto in the face, but Naruto just ripped the fist off with his razor-sharp teeth. The ninja screamed in pain for a moment before Naruto shut him up by grabbing his throat. You want to live? Asked Naruto as the ninja whimpered in affirmation. Naruto grabbed the ninja's head with both his hands as he rose him to eye level. You have information that I need? Again the ninja whimpered in confirmation. I'm going to learn that information, stated Naruto as the ninja whimpered again. By sucking your blood. He whimpered in surprise and horror. Suffer for the sins you have committed. Om nom nom nom, yelled Naruto as he sank his fangs deeply into the ninja's skin. As the blood ran down his throat, a whole assortment of memories began to cycle through Naruto's mind. Now when Naruto did this technique, not only did he receive the information he was looking for, but he also received the memory of every deed the ninja had ever committed. So Naruto was forced to relive the memories of this Meizu and his brother Gozu raping numerous women and brutally torturing them before killing them. Naruto finally finished sucking Meizu dry and stood up to look at his various teammates and his clients. Shino looked pale, but stared at him, showing that he could endure Naruto's personality. Kakashi and Hinata both looked saddened, but gave him small smiles to show that they supported him through and through. Tazuna had turned away at the very beginning to puke. He was pale and was giving Naruto a few wary glances. His name is Meizu. He has murdered over 23 civilians in cold blood. 8 of them were women that he brutally fapped and tortured before finally ending their lives. His mission was to capture the bridge builder and make him watch as he killed his daughter in any fashion possible. He was hired by Gato of Gato Shipping to work under Zabuza Momochi, but reported directly to Gato himself. Zabuza has no knowledge of this encounter as they were sent by Gato and not Zabuza. However, Zabuza was setting an ambush up in wave for when he returns, stated Naruto in an emotionless tone as he began to walk away. Naruto, where are you going? Asked Kakashi as Naruto glanced back at him before continuing his trek into the woods. I'm going for a walk, muttered Naruto as he disappeared into the foliage. Kakashi was going to go after Naruto until he felt a hand on his arm. Let him go, sensei. When he sees their memories, he has no control over what he sees, stated Hinata as Kakashi understood exactly what Naruto had seen. Okay, Tazuna, we have some things that we need to talk about, stated Kakashi as he approached a pale and sweating Tazuna. So you're just used to it? How? Tazuna asked in a quivering tone as Hinata just shrugged her shoulders in response and smiled slightly at the terrified man behind her. I don't really remember when it stopped being so traumatizing to me, but I do know that I was never afraid of Naruto himself. He saved me when I was younger, if you recall, from a very sick and twisted man. Ever since then I've always felt safe and secure in his presence, and even though he claims to be a monster, I know that he still cares for the weak and innocent, stated Hinata as she turned back to scanning the trees for the possible ambush up ahead. It had been a day since Naruto had left the group to go on his walk, and they hadn't seen either hide nor hair of him since then. Shino had been worried for his new teammate at first, but he was calmed down by Hinata and Kakashi, who both stated that Naruto could take care of himself. They had only just recently crossed the wide corridor of ocean that separated Wave from the rest of the elemental nations and were quite awestruck by the size of the bridge that was about halfway complete from what Hinata could tell. Impressive, isn't it? I designed the whole thing, and soon it will be able to save my whole country, Tazuna loudly proclaimed as he raised his fist up in triumph. Keep it quiet! Gato's men patrol the sea lanes here, and the last thing I need is for him to spot me like he did yesterday, the captain of the boat growled to Tazuna. What? You crossed yesterday? Asked Tazuna as he was surprised the man would willingly make 2 trips in 2 days. Yeah, some blonde kid paid me quite a bit to take me to the island. I was going to say no, but that bar of gold was quite a hefty payment, laughed the man as his eyes began to glow in greed. Naruto is already on wave? Asked Shino quietly as Hinata just shook her head in response. He tends to do his own thing when he goes on his walks, she muttered. Even I have little control over him on his outings. I doubt he even has any control over himself during these times. In fact, I'm sure that everything he does is based entirely upon Murphy's Law. You can't be serious, whispered Tazuna as he began to fidget and sweat due to the nervousness of having the kid on his native soil. I honestly wish she was joking, muttered Kakashi as he just looked towards the rapidly approaching shore. After walking for a few miles towards the inner parts of the island, Shino suddenly stopped walking and looked towards a cluster of trees not too far away. Sensei? I know Shino, he's been following us since we got off the boat, but I haven't been able to pinpoint his location as of yet. Hinata, have you been able to track him? Asked Kakashi as Hinata just shook her head. No, the mist is stopping my Byakugan from seeing too far into it. The only way that could happen is if there was chakra laced into it, though, stated Hinata. That settles it. I want all of you ready a moment's notice. He could strike at any time, stated Kakashi, and as if fate was just listening in on their conversation and decided to be Dick, a giant blade was thrown towards their location intent on ending their lives. Everyone down! Yelled Kakashi as he tackled Tazuna to the ground with Shino and Hinata following him to the ground. The blade flew over their heads and embedded itself into a tree not too far away from them. Well, if it isn't my lucky day! The famous Kakashi of the Sharingan, the man who's been said to have mastered over a 1,000 jutsu. Your head is worth quite the penny over in IWA, stated a man that had appeared on the handle of the monster blade now sticking out of the tree. However, I'm willing to overlook that if you just hand over the bridge builder. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist, stated Kakashi as he stared lazily at the man perched high above him. I'm guessing I can't just tell you walk away and forget all about your mission. You would guess right, and I'm guessing that you won't hand him over to me and walk away? Asked Zabuza as Kakashi just gave him a small nod. Very well, I gave you a way out. Now whatever happens from here on out will be on your hands, Kakashi, including the death of your little kiddies. I think you might be pleasantly surprised by their skills, stated Kakashi as he pulled up the headband covering his eye to reveal his Sharingan. Oh, the Sharingan already? My, you really are serious. Does it have something to do with you only having 2 genin? I was under impression that Konoha had 3 genin per team. Did you lose one already? Zabuza asked as he jumped off the tree and picked up his massive blade. Nah, he just went for a walk a little while ago, Kakashi answered nonchalantly. I'm sure you'll be meeting him soon enough. I'm sure I will, but you seeing him again, I'm not so sure, stated Zabuza as he made a single hand sign and began to channel his chakra. Almost immediately the mist that wasn't too thick before began to get denser and denser till they couldn't see more than a few feet in front of them. Hinata, Shino, protect Tazuna. I will take care of Zabuza, stated Kakashi as Hinata and Shino both took position around Tazuna. Awfully confident in your genin, Kakashi, Zabuza stated through the mist. His voice echoed, creating a chilling effect on everyone in the mist, but affecting Tazuna the most by far. Hinata and Kakashi weren't really affected, while Shino was sweating a bit, but was taking it well due to having been around Naruto for the past few weeks on a regular basis. Of course, they may be young, but I have full faith in all of them, Kakashi answered back as Zabuza just laughed in response. Young? Ha, they may be able to take a little killing intent, but they aren't real ninja yet. Unless they've taken another life, see the life exit their eyes as they realize that it is the end, stated Zabuza. Now let's get to business, shall we? Sensei, I can't see too well in the mist, shouted Hinata. A Hyuga? I always wondered if my mist would block even their eyes. Guess I know the answer now, Shino, can you sense him? Whispered Hinata as Shino gave a small nod. He has split himself into clones. 2 are approaching us, 1 is by Kakashi-sensei, and 1 is hanging back most likely waiting for an opening, stated Shino as Hinata readied herself. Did you know there are 8 points on the human body that one should aim for in order to kill another person? I know every single one of them, and I know so many ways to attack them. The only problem I face is choosing which one to aim for. Should I aim for the femoral artery and watch as a torrent of blood shoot out of your body, or maybe I should take your heart? I've always heard Konoha nin have always had such large hearts, yelled Zabuza as he made his move. Hinata. Inside, stated Shino as Hinata quickly spun around and hit Zabuza directly in the heart with her jukin, but it burst into water, showing that it was a clone. Impressive, but not good enough, yelled Zabuza as he appeared behind Hinata with his sword poised to strike. Not today, yelled Kakashi as he appeared in front of Zabuza and stabbed him with a kunai, only to once again discover that it was nothing more than a clone. There's more, stated Shino as Kakashi suddenly found himself about to be attacked by 4 different Zabuzas attacking from different angles. Just as he was about to substitute away, 4 simultaneous bangs echoed through the clearing along with all 4 clones being destroyed. Naruto, stated Kakashi as he turned towards where he believed the troubled blonde was standing. Who was that? Asked Zabuza, just before he was hit by a massive amount of killing intent that seemed to match his in intensity. Along with this new wave of killing intent, the mist began to blow away as if following the wave itself. There on one side of the team was Zabuza with several clones surrounding him, and on the other side was Naruto standing there with a large grin and his revolver judgment out, and pointed at Zabuza. Who the hell is this? Asked Zabuza. He readied his sword and prepared to fight this additional genin. Naruto, where have you been? Asked Kakashi as Naruto spared him a glance and chuckled. Doing some pest control, Kakashi. There were vermin camped along the shore that needed to be eradicated, stated Naruto without remorse as he focused his eyes once more upon Zabuza. It seems you've been fighting quite the interesting man. Indeed, muttered Kakashi. I'm sure you know who this is. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the bloody mist, the man infamous for his silent killing technique and his past exploit of slaughtering his entire genin class and laughing as he bathed in their blood, stated Naruto as his eyes narrowed slightly at Zabuza. It seems someone's done his homework. You have me at a disadvantage, it seems, so tell me, what did you mean by exterminating vermin along the coast? Asked Zabuza as Naruto just began to laugh. What does it sound like? I ran into a bunch of thugs and wannabe samurais and killed all but one of them, yelled Naruto as he pulled back the hammer on his revolver. What happened to the last one? Asked Shino as his eyebrow raised in confusion. Pussed out like a bitch, yelled Naruto. Now let's get this going. With that, Naruto charged towards Zabuza at a speed the older jounin didn't expect and was nearly caught off guard. However, Zabuza reacted and swung his blade at the grinning to blonde. Naruto slid under the blade and right under the defenses of Zabuza and pulled the trigger twice. Immediately the shell sunk into Zabuza, but he just exploded into water and Naruto sighed, clearly not surprised by this tactic. Being able to substitute with a clone without hand signs is quite an impressive feat. It comes in handy, yelled Zabuza as he swung his sword at the back of Naruto. Naruto quickly turned and blocked the blade using both his revolvers crossed at his chest to repel the massive blade. Both remained in a deadlock trying to overpower the other. How can you stand up to me like this? Asked Zabuza as he began to lose ground to the grinning blonde. Easy, you're just too weak, yelled Naruto as he pushed the blade away from him and quickly aimed and fired his guns at Zabuza. Luckily for Zabuza, he was prepared this time and quickly dodged the rounds, with some difficulty, and took off towards Naruto. You truly are a demon, to have been able to dodge my guns, stated Naruto as he ducked under Zabuza's sword. However, stand no chance against me. Why's that? Yelled Zabuza as he attempted to hit Naruto with an overhead strike, only for Naruto to dodge easily and shoot Zabuza twice in the torso. Zabuza flew back, landing on dry ground, and began to cough out quite a bit of blood. Because you aren't facing a man but a Naruto never got to finish that sentence as another Zabuza appeared behind him and bisected Naruto at the waist before the blonde could finish his sentence. Naruto's two halves flew in several directions away from Zabuza, who just looked at the boy with apathy. He was quite the fighter for one so young, but he lacked experience. With that said, Zabuza faced Kakashi, who wasn't even in a combat position. "What's the matter, Kakashi? So stunned by your student's death that you can't even move?" asked Zabuza, but Kakashi just looked at him boredly and reached into his vest. Zabuza tensed, anticipating an attack, but Kakashi just brought out a small orange book. "What the hell are you doing?" Kakashi just looked at him from over the rim of his book with a bored expression. "I'm reading. By the way, Naruto has a nasty habit of pulling himself back together." "Ah hell," stated Zabuza as he turned around to see the two halves of Naruto connect in a torrent of blood and pull themselves back together. In no time at all, Naruto was standing once more in front of Zabuza with a manic grin on his face showing all his razor-sharp teeth. He had both his revolvers pointed at Zabuza, but luckily for him both guns had yet to have the hammer pulled back. "You aren't a normal kid, never seen something like that in my life," muttered Zabuza, causing Naruto's grin to get even larger. "The same could be said for you, and that sword of yours. Made of the blood from everyone you've killed in the past. It's quite the weapon," stated Naruto as Zabuza's eyes widened as he didn't know that anyone knew the secret of his weapon. "How did you know that?" asked Zabuza as he prepared to strike at the blonde once more. "Easy, their blood speaks to me. When you cut me with your blade, I was assaulted with the souls of all those who have met their ends due to this blade. It was then that I learned quite an interesting detail," stated Naruto as Zabuza began to pale quite a bit. "You may have killed thousands, but you are no demon. Ha, you've never once killed an innocent. Only ninja and those that have done bad, just like me." Zabuza did nothing for a few seconds and a silence descended amongst the group of ninja present in the clearing. Despite it only being a few seconds, the silence seemed to drag on forever. That was until Naruto pulled both revolvers back and stored them into his holster. "Go, we will fight another day. You must know that you stand no chance against me with your chakra levels the way they are, and I have no reason to fight you now. Go tell Gato that I will soon feast upon his head," stated Naruto as he walked by Zabuza, not even sparing him a glance. Zabuza stood still with wide eyes and sweat traveling down his forehead. The image he had just seen when he looked into the eyes of the blonde ninja had shaken him up quite a bit. Such madness and hate in such a child. What had the leaf done to create such a monster? Zabuza finally snapped out of it, shook his head and spared one last glance at the blonde before taking off into the trees to find his subordinate Haku. "Care to explain why you are letting him go?" asked Kakashi as he stared at Naruto, who just shrugged his shoulders. "I have rules when it comes to killing people. I'm not sure where he stands amongst those rules yet, and it just isn't his time yet to meet the Reaper. Besides, I've had my fill for today," stated Naruto as he walked down the path that led to Tazuna's home. "How does he know where I live?" asked Tazuna as everyone else just shrugged and followed the blonde. "What was he, master?" asked Haku as she tended to the wounds of Zabuza. "I don't know, he could have killed me there. But he didn't. I don't know why he didn't, but he could have done it, and I wouldn't have been able to stop him," stated Zabuza with a shudder. "Surely you must be kidding?" "No, I'm not. I used to think Kisame was truly a monster. Now I know that Kisame is nothing more than a fish compared to that shark. The monster hidden amongst the leaf has a nice ring." "What the hell happened to you guys?" yelled a figure amongst a burning camp in the land of waves. "Why won't you answer me? Speak, beauty, speak!" yelled the man as he picked up a severed head that had a look of horror frozen on his face. "What? You say it was a monster?" "He was." "That can't be right, he is dead." "Are you mocking me?" "No, you." "That may be true, screw you, you're a towel." And with that said and finished, the man smashed the head into the ground, causing it to explode. "So the Nosferatu is returning at last. Perhaps I should tell the others." "Nah, I'm just going to kill him myself," yelled the figure as walked cheerfully into the woods. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.